time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Greetings and salutations on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Should be a lovely day, weather-wise, here in the Mid-South. Welcome into Sports 56 Mornings. It is the Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers with you. We're in the Family Leisure Studios. We're live and local. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Pool time just about here. Get on the list for your pool installation right now. Take care of all your accessories, as they have up to 20% off deal going on right now. 5 to 6 person hot tubs starting at $69.99. All types of great deals on swim spas, cold plunge tubs, patio furniture sets. Mention this ad, get free installation. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 58 degrees. Now, I like the crispness of the morning. I love it when it's not hot and humid at 6 or 7 in the morning. So I love what's going on right now. And the high temperature today may not reach 70. That's perfect. Right around 68, 69, 70. Sunshine. You can't beat it. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Then tomorrow, you want it a little warmer? All right, we got you a little warmer tomorrow. 75 degrees for your high with sunshine. Does not look like we have rain in the forecast until probably Sunday night into Monday. So it looks pretty clear for several days to come. Coming up on the program today, another busy show. Grizzlies tonight in their play-in game in San Francisco against the Golden State Warriors. Whatever the result is, the season does not end for the Grizzlies tonight. We will discuss, we'll preview. We'll talk about the other play-in games in the NBA. Got college basketball news from the portal, including news for the University of Memphis. Also from the NBA, we had a firing yesterday. Talked about it being a pretty quiet Black Monday, as a lot of the moves that were made with coaches happened during the season. But there was a move yesterday made of significance, and a GM let go as well of significance. We'll talk about all those things basketball-wise. Also from the football world, the draft will take place next week. It begins 1 week from this Thursday. And for fans of Seth Hennigan of the University of Memphis, maybe he'll get drafted, maybe he won't get drafted, but he's going to be in a camp. And yesterday, the full John Gruden quarterback class segment with Seth came out, and it was very interesting to watch. Parker Fleming's going to join us at 8:05 to talk all things Grizzlies. We'll have our weekly golf segment with Mickey Barker, post-Masters. That'll be coming up at 9:05. Humdinger's Trivia also on the docket for today, since it is Tuesday. We have a couple of sad notes to also bring up from the world of sports with a couple of passings that took place yesterday. We'll give you the details. We'll take your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. A little bit more on the latest Nico saga. What will happen? Where will he go? We got that for you as well. It's all coming up on the program today. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Play-In Tuesday to everybody out there.
Yeah, happy Play-In Tuesday. I was going to say happy tax day. It's never a happy day for tax day. But then I find out last night, after my wife worked her tail off to get the taxes done yesterday, I find out last night at about 9:30 that you don't have to have your taxes for the 15th in Tennessee, and I think Arkansas. I'm not sure about Mississippi because of the floods. And so now you don't have to have them in until November 3rd? What?
Yeah, there's extensions till November. I did my taxes last night, as a matter of fact, too.
Yeah, did you know about this extension?
Yeah, I didn't know. I knew about it, but I want to get them done anyway. I've just been procrastinating on them, and finally last night, with no games or anything to worry about, I was able to sit down and focus on them and get them done.
Yeah, look, my wife takes care of that. She's not happy that she has to do that. She does it, and she did it, and now we find that news. It just made me mad that I just heard of that. I don't know how long it's been out there. It helps a lot of people who need that extension. I can't believe the extension is that long. What do you need, a half a year? Because you had some floods? But I guess there's All people who were ravaged by it certainly need that, but you would think they would get that individually anyway. But this is for like everybody within the states that I just mentioned. Again, I'm not sure about Mississippi, but I'm positive Arkansas. I know 100% Tennessee. So good. I guess good for people who are procrastinators and didn't get it done yesterday. So you can take your time now on tax day because it's not April 15th this year. It will be November 3rd. All right, tonight, the Grizzlies, 6.5-point underdog at Golden State. The Grizzlies 0-8 this season on West Coast trips. I mean, teams that are on the West Coast, not Midwest or Southwest. We're talking about on the West Coast. They are 0-8, so not good. Now, past history, and we had texters yesterday make the point that Golden State's 0-3 in play-in games, and I made the point, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's all about this year. If the Grizzlies win, then the Grizzlies move into the 7th seed and will play the Houston Rockets. And that is the best case scenario because if they lose, they still have to win a game on Friday, which would be here in Memphis, against the winner of Sacramento and Dallas. But then if they won that game, they would draw Oklahoma City. Memphis would be the 8th seed. If they lose that game, then they go to Cancun. So that's what's at stake for Memphis. Now, are some people going to look at winning tonight in San Francisco and losing in a playoff series to Houston makes it a successful season? Just making the playoffs when they were sitting there in the 2 spot for most of the year? No. You can't really believe that, right? So I don't know how they salvage the season. A win tonight is not salvaging the season. But if you win tonight, you have a shot. I think you have a pretty good shot to beat Houston in a best of 7.
Yeah, I said last week if you could have promised me that they would win the 7-8 matchup, that I think this would have been the place I would have rather been, rather than even being in the 6th spot. I think Houston is the best possible matchup that they could have gotten, and it won't be easy, obviously, against a veteran Golden State team. And I was looking at the 4 matchups with Golden State this year, which Golden State, of course, won 3 of those, although only really one of them is what the current teams are as far as who will be playing in the games. But really, 3 of the 4 games especially came down to one team dominating at the 3-point line, which is no surprise.
Shocking, right?
That games between the Grizzlies and Golden State would come down to the 3-point line. In game 1, Golden State made 19 threes. The Grizzlies made just 7. In game 2, which the Grizzlies blew them out of the building, Grizzlies set a franchise record, making 27 threes to the Warriors' 12. Game 3, Golden State made 23 threes, and the Grizzlies only made 9. So the first 3 games, you had a difference of 12, 15, and 14 at the 3-point line. And then the last game that was just played here a couple weeks ago, Golden State had an advantage of 4. They made 22 to the Grizzlies' 18. So in their 3 wins, they've made 19, 23, and 22 threes in those games. And so, obviously we know that playing Golden State generally a lot of times will come down to guarding the 3-point line. We also know that the Grizzlies have had trouble guarding the 3-point line at various times and in most games this season. So certainly will be huge tonight to try and do that. Obviously, that last game, Steph Curry went off for the 52, the other game in which the Grizzlies won, they held him to basically nothing. What do you have? I think 4 points in that game.
I think it was.
They've seen in one game he didn't even play in. So they've seen a little bit of everything as far as Steph Curry is concerned. But Jaren Jackson Jr., while he's actually, his numbers are good. He's averaging 23.5 points and 7 rebounds in the 4 games. Just 3 for 18 from three-point range against the Warriors this year. Santi Aldama's been very good against the Warriors, shooting 47% from three-point range. He played 3 of the 4 games against them. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Should be fun. And obviously it's, I don't think the team needs to be told like the difference between 7 and 8. I think everybody realizes you don't want to have to mess with Oklahoma City if you don't have to.
Well, during the season, especially down the stretch, there wasn't ever a sense of urgency from them, knowing that one win could be the difference. So that really bothered me. And I'm not saying they're the only team, but I didn't see it from the Grizzlies. And the end result is where they are right now as the presumptive 8th seed. They're sitting there at 8 now. We'll see if they end up 8th or 7th or out of it. But in the game in which Golden State made the 22 threes and Memphis made the 18 threes, it's only a 4 3-point difference. That's 12 total points. It's not too bad. What was the difference maker in that game? Because that's what I want to look at. If one team is going to run the other team out of the gym on the 3-point line, it's over, right? You made a great point there. But let's say it's relatively easy. What is going to be the difference maker in this game? Elijah, I'll ask you that as well, that question. Let's assume, and again, 3 out of the 4 games, it wasn't close with the threes. But let's assume for tonight, for the sake of discussion, it's close. What is going to be the difference in this game? What was the difference in that game? No, I'm saying if it's saying it's equal. Let's say it's a wash. What will be the difference in this game? Who's going to make the difference, or what aspect of the game?
I think offensive rebounding will be very big in this game with the long rebounds that come off of missed threes for the Warriors. They rebound those better than anyone in the league, in league history, with like Kevon Looney, and Brandon Podziemski does a really good job. So if you can limit those long offensive rebounds, which in playoff series before where the Grizzlies and the Warriors have played, those have been so detrimental to the Grizz success. I remember Game 6 in Golden State. They had 29 offensive rebounds in 2023 or 2022. Crazy stuff.
And that's, if you go back to the last game again with the kind of the current roster set up after the Jimmy Butler trade, the one game that he's actually been there for them.
Right.
That they started that small lineup with Draymond starting at center, basically. And the Grizzlies were not able to take advantage of that size with Edey. Again, at the beginning of the game, I was like, how do you not just lob the ball to Zach Edey? And in that game, to your point, they got 15 offensive rebounds. The Grizzlies only had 8, despite the fact that they're playing, again, Draymond at the center position with a starting lineup of Curry, Podziemski, Green, Butler, and Moody. With the Grizzlies having Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey out there, you would think you would be able to dominate. Now, Edey ended up, in the second half, they kind of started using Edey a little bit more.
I remember now.
That's again, the Jaren has big numbers because they have nobody really that can guard Jaren with his size. So he has an ability to dominate against this team with that starting lineup, especially. But the 3 wins by Golden State have all been by single digits. Like they've been.
Right.
It's not like they're blowing the Grizzlies out. Like they've been close games. That game was a tie game with 2 minutes to go, and the Grizzlies had one of their terrible finishes. Again, Kevon Looney made the 3 from the corner. Podziemski had the tip in off the Curry miss. I mean, it was just plays that you're like, really, these guys are the ones beating you? But that game, Golden State went 28 of 28 at the free throw line as well. That's if your Grizzlies went 19 of 22, it's great. The other team went 28 of 28, so they had a 9-point advantage at the free throw line.
But again, the point that Elijah brought up about offensive rebounding is what I'm talking about, is one area that may have been detrimental to Memphis winning some of those games. And it does seem like, at least from those numbers, 15-8, that it was offensive rebounds. Because if you're getting an offensive rebound, obviously you're getting a second chance opportunity. And so if you take advantage of that, I don't know what the second chance points were in that game, but that might be a difference maker in this contest. How many, do you have the box right in front of you from that game? How many offensive rebounds did Jaren have in that game of the 8 that they had?
2.
And Edie had, I would assume, 3 or 4?
Edie had 3.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be
And in that game,
very important.
in that game, Jaren Jackson Jr. fouled out down the stretch when they didn't have.
That's
Jaren
another
Jackson
thing.
Jr.
Yeah.
That was he. Let's see, he had 4 fouls and one of them played 36 minutes. The blowout, nobody didn't have to play. And then the other one, he only had 2 fouls in 32 minutes. That's when he had 32 points in that one.
Yes.
That was
We want that Jaren
dominated.
Jackson Jr. 2,032 minutes, being able to produce like that. It's obviously apparent that he can produce against them, but he has to stay on the floor.
That last game, he had the 2 terrible fouls late in the game that fouled him out, where he had the
reach.
He missed the 3 in the corner, reached out and grabbed the arm of, I think it was Pajemski, and then he had the other one where he just, for whatever reason, went over and knocked Steph Curry to the ground for no reason whatsoever to foul out of that game. I mean, again, that's the things that Jaren can't do. He's going to get fouls when you're blocking shots and doing everything else. He's going to pick up some fouls. You can't be picking up the silly fouls 90 feet away from the basket that have no effect on anything.
Right. The other game tonight and the first game of the evening, which will get underway 6:30 Central Time on TNT, is the Hawks and the Magic. The Hawks are a 5.5-point underdog playing on the road in Orlando. And then tomorrow, your 2 playing games, with the early game being the Heat and the Bulls in Chicago. The Bulls are a 1.5-point favorite, and that'll be followed by the Mavericks and the Kings, with the Kings hosting the Mavs. The Kings a 4.5-point favorite. Again, whoever loses the game tonight in San Francisco, not eliminated, but that team that loses will be the host team on Friday, playing the winner of the Kings-Mavericks game. So that means tonight, or tomorrow night, when the Kings and Mavericks play, the loser of that game is eliminated. So there you go. That's the scenario for Memphis. No use in looking at the future right now because they're still playing. They're still alive, and anything is possible. And our thoughts about the season, right now you put on hold because it's incomplete. The book has not been completely written. And we'll see what happens. Now, the book has been written on the Phoenix Suns this year. Disaster. D for Disaster is the name of the book. And so Matt Ishbia, again, making a move. And not surprisingly, he fires head coach Mike Budenholzer, the veteran coach, after one season, 36-46. It just did not work out with Bradley Beal combining with Durant and Booker. You got 3 guys of that caliber, and you're 36-46. Budenholzer had accepted the job last season. He signed a $50 million 5-year deal. So he doesn't have to rush back into coaching. They owe him a lot of money. But he could. I'd imagine there'll be some teams that'll be interested.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what he wants to do, but certainly there will be some interest. Obviously, there's not a ton of openings, but there will be some. You know, it's that's what the Suns do, is they fire coaches. That's what Matt Ishbia does. He fires coaches. This is 3 straight years where they have made a coaching change in the offseason. I don't know what direction they'll go next. I don't know. If you're a coach, I mean, other than the fact, I guess, that they will pay you a hell of a lot of money to not coach their team. Monty Williams knows that, and Frank Vogel knows that, and now Mike Budenholzer knows that. They love to pay coaches to not coach their team. fact that they fire a coach every year, not exactly a real attractive job, and a roster that certainly, based on everything that's out there, and no surprise, could look a heck of a lot different next year for them, with probably Kevin Durant gone in some way. So who knows who's there, who's not there, all of that stuff. So I don't know. It'll be that's an interesting job for any coach to take.
Yeah, and you say there's not a lot of openings, and there are not. But Denver's got to figure out what they're going to do, and I would imagine that Denver will go probably bigger name, whereas the Grizzlies, I think it's going to be Isolo. I think they'll retain him as head coach. I mean, you don't spend the money you did to bring him over without some plan into the future with him. And I think the writing was on the wall when Jenkins had to fire a bunch of his coaches and bring in a guy who was coming in with a new system, and the rest is history. So I think Isolo, I don't care what happens as far as the postseason is concerned, in the sense of how they're going to evaluate him. I don't think it's going to matter, but that's just my opinion. I don't know that factually. I don't think a win tonight secures a job, or a loss, and a loss on Friday means he's not coming back. I don't know. I don't know what's in the mind of Zach Kleiman and the powers that be with the Grizzlies. Also, David Griffin was let go, the Pelicans general manager. And now the word is that Joe Dumars, longtime front office executive and a Hall of Fame guard who played for the Pistons and was an executive for many years with the Pistons, is the front runner to replace him. Feel bad for Griffin with the whole Zion thing. I mean, what are you going to do? Any team would have taken Zion number one. Grizzlies would have taken him number one. And he's been a disaster because of health.
Yeah, I mean, really none of his moves have really worked out. And they've been terrible. And at some point, you got to see if a fresh mind can come in and do something with that roster.
I agree. I mean, he made a lot of moves when he brought in Valanciunas, and then he had Ingram and got McCollum. McCollum's been good, but he's been hurt. But the injuries really added up. It was basically Grizzlies 2.0. It was what happened to the Grizzlies last year, unfortunately happened to the Pelicans this year.
The Grizzlies crew, by the way, out once again today. They've been around town, and they will be around town all week giving away stuff, just out on the street corners. They're just out there on the street corners giving stuff away. Mm-hmm. Right now they're at Walnut Grove and Perkins. They're there till 9 o'clock today. Then from 11 to 1, they'll be at Poplar and Farmington out in Germantown. Tomorrow, they'll be down on Mud Island in the morning. They'll be at Poplar and Highland during the middle of the day. Tomorrow afternoon, they're going to be out at Kroger down in South Haven. So you can go get some Grizzlies swag if you want, as the Grizzlies folks are out and about.
How about some breakfast sandwiches? Could they supply them this morning? Stop by.
I don't think the Grizzlies have an official. I don't think that's
breakfast sandwiches?
I don't think they have an official breakfast sandwich.
Hook up with Jimmy Dean or something.
I don't think that's. I don't know. I don't know what all they're giving away, but I doubt that it's breakfast sandwich. I have no idea what exactly they're giving. Speaking of giving things away, we will be giving away, just like we did for the Tigers. We will be giving away, if the Grizzlies make the playoffs.
Yeah, we hope. Fingers crossed.
If they are in the playoffs, as long as they are in the playoffs, we will give away $98.50 a day. So if they win tonight and get themselves into the playoffs, tomorrow on the station, at some point, we will give away $98.50. And we will do that every day until the Grizzlies are eliminated from the playoffs. So if they made a run to the NBA Finals, we'd be giving away a lot of money. That would be from now till June whatever. So
coming out of your salary?
But $98, we will be doing it again, $98.50 for as long as the Grizzlies are in the playoffs. Obviously, if they lose tonight and they lose on Friday,
sorry,
we will not be giving away any money. But as long as they get into the playoffs, and then as long as they are in the playoffs, we will give away $98.50 each weekday on one of the shows throughout the day. So you'll just have to keep on listening and be ready for that. But yeah, so
pretty good deal.
If they win tonight, they're in the playoffs, and we start giving away $98.50 a day.
So just a little extra incentive to root for the Grizzlies tonight. Not that you wouldn't have been already doing so, but that's a neat little thing just for listening to the show. One final thing before we take our first time out. The numbers are in from the NBAstore.com on jersey sales for the season. The number one jersey, the Luka Doncic number 77 Lakers jersey. So Luka Doncic, more sales of his jersey than anybody else. He becomes the first player other than LeBron James or Steph Curry to hold the lead in jersey sales since the 2012-2013 regular season when who was the number one jersey? Do you know?
Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, you read the story. Carmelo Anthony, playing for the New York Knickerbockers. Curry finishes second. LeBron James, number 3. The top 10 were rounded out this way. Jason Tatum, 4. Jalen Brunson, 5. Victor Wembanyama, 6. You can use that as a dress as well. Minnesota's Anthony Edwards, 7th. Ja Morant, number 8, jersey sales. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's probably going to win the MVP, number 9. And Nikola Jokic, who will probably be the runner-up, number 10. And again, that just reemphasizes the importance of Ja Morant. So for anybody talking about trading Ja and this and that guy who needs to be on the floor more, everybody understands that, is invaluable to the Grizzlies and the perception of the Grizzlies and who they are and the importance of the Grizzlies because of that guy right there. Must-watch TV, that's my nickname for him, Ja Morant.
Ja also had the most viewed play, or I guess technically for him it was plays on social media for the year. His 2 crazy layups that he had in the Brooklyn game early in the year, 286 million views. That was the number one play of the year as far as social media views in the NBA.
How about his original gun and then his hand grenade? That'd be viewed a few times, too.
I don't know. I don't know what those numbers were. I just know that the 286 million for the layups was number one in the league.
Outstanding. Hey, everybody, want to know where all the Chevys are, where all the deals are? Right here in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Save thousands on your new Silverado truck, financing as low as 2.9 for 72 months. A new 2500 HD has financing as low as 3.9, no payments for 90 days. Nothing beats having no payments most of the summer, and your good credit deserves it. If you're in law enforcement, first responder, healthcare worker, military, teacher, recent grad, you get an extra $500 bonus. All-Stars, all the late model pre-owns you're looking for as well. Camaros and Equinox, Tahoes, Suburbans, a ton of Silverados. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money back for it today. Everyone here at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch asked me to wish you and your family a very happy Easter. Together, let's drive. AllStarAutoGroup.com is the website. All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and 95 FM. You're hungry for all meat? Trust the family that has been feeding you this since 1967. Charlie Hogan and Triangle Meat Company. Trust Triangle Meat for fresh beef, hamburger, and roast. Trust Triangle Meat for delicious pork ribs, chops, and butter. And trust Triangle Meat for tender chicken, roll block, baby lots of pork. Triangle Meat Company has all the meat you need. Shop Triangle Meat Company in 5 Division Saturday, 4790 Summer Avenue, 901 683 1112. Fresh or frozen, big or small. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Hey, everybody, want to know where all the Chevys are? Where All the deals are right here in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Save thousands on your new Silverado truck. Financing as low as 2.9 for 72 months. A new 2500 HD has financing as low as 3.9 and no payments for 90 days. Nothing beats having no payments most of the summer. Absolutely nothing. You could take an extra vacation, and your good credit deserves it. If you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, military, education, recent grad, you get an extra $500 bonus. And All-Star has all the late model pre-owns you're looking for. Camaro, Equinox, Tahoe, Suburban, and tons of Silverados. And if you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. Everyone here at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch asked me to wish you and your family a very happy Easter month. So together, let's drive, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Orlando, Little Rock, and Cleveland, Mississippi specializes in flooring and tile, lamination, shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Trying to crank up a little bit more volume coming in from Fayette County on I-40 coming westbound here at 269 Chambers Chapel. Working your way down 40 west all the way to Sycamore View Road. Midtown traffic's been in pretty good shape so far. That's been quiet. I'm sure that'll all change here in the next 20, 30 minutes on 240 north up by Lamar. I-40 east starting to crank up across the Hernando de Soto Bridge coming over from West Memphis. If you have dandelions, crabgrass in your yard and you want it to look really good this year, this spring, call Lawn Solutions at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:32 is the time. Talk some Grizzlies in segment number 1. We'll continue that discussion when Parker Fleming joins us at 8:05. Talked about some of the NBA wheelings and dealings, including the firing of Mike Budenholzer. Now a little college basketball news. Memphis added a player yesterday, and they added a Memphian. Memphis native and Western Kentucky transfer Julius Thedford, according to his IG announcement, has committed to the University of Memphis, played at Whitehaven and then Cordova. I'm not sure in which order, but he is a prep player from Memphis, 6'4" guard, averaged 12.4 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, shot 36% from three, has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Now, last year, he was moving along nicely, 18 games, and then he dislocated his kneecap and tore a ligament. So he missed the rest of the year, and I'm not sure where he is on the rehabilitation, coming back from injury, but he announces that he is joining Memphis. In the meantime, Memphis continues to wait on a Dane Danger waiver, which, again, good luck with that. PJ Haggerty, they continue to wait to see what he's going to do. They've added a few players, but nothing to write home about. It has been a uphill battle, but I'm sure when it's all said and done, Penny will have a very solid roster, but a lot depending on guys who played with the team last year, in particular, specifically, I should say, PJ Haggerty, and again, an outside chance at retaining Dane Danger for another year.
Yeah, Thedford, those are pretty good numbers for a freshman, start to a freshman year, 12.5 points, nearly 4 rebounds per game. Unfortunate, obviously, to suffer the injury and have to go through that, but would expect that he'll make a full recovery and be ready to go. And if he can do that as a freshman, that certainly bodes well if he can continue to improve upon those numbers. We're down to 1 week now for the transfer portal. As far as being open. So PJ Haggerty, 1 more week remaining before he would, if he's going to get in the portal, he needs to do that in the next 7 days. The extension on that, no extension on that like tax day. That you don't
Not
have
till November
No, you
3rd?
don't have till November. You still that is still a just till next Tuesday as far as that one is concerned.
So nothing new from the Nico Iamaleava front other than rumors and interesting posts as well. Did you happen to read the post? Now, Nick Saban doesn't have a Facebook page per se like him, but it's a Facebook page that once in a while, I guess he will give the administrator something that he wants out there on social media. And he praised up and down Josh Heupel and Tennessee and what they did in the decision to let Nico walk. There's been a lot of positive feedback in Tennessee's favor. Now, there are others who say that, Nico, they don't blame Nico. They blame the system more than they blame an individual player. Some blame his inner circle, his dad, to put him in this position. But then again, who knows? He may end up smelling like a rose when it's all said and done. I don't know what team is going to pay him the money he wants. So far, we have not heard anything other than maybe UCLA. Then we heard rumors yesterday about North Carolina, but there was a subsequent report that nixed that idea. I'm not sure if Bill Belichick was interested or it came down to they didn't have that kind of money or they didn't want to spend that kind of money. The other name that surfaced as far as school names, and this one was a little bit of a stunner, was Tulane. I don't know how serious that is. But we've talked about the budget in the league, in the American Conference. And I don't know what the commitment is to Tulane. I thought they had a pretty good commitment 2 years ago. And then this past year, they lost some players, so I'm not sure where it was. But it's interesting that Tulane basketball was able to retain 4 of their players from last year. And now you're hearing some rumors about this. So I don't know if there was all of a sudden recently an influx of money for NIL. But could you imagine that? If he went from playing in the SEC to playing in the American?
I'm going to guess that Tulane would be a last option. Or one of the last options.
If it's a serious story, if there it really is an option there. But who will it be? When will it happen? Nobody knows. And again, Tennessee looking at adding, I'm sure, a quarterback with their inexperienced backups that they have now. Can they find a veteran quarterback? And again, it cannot come from the SEC. They could bring one in, but he wouldn't be eligible to play in 2025. So we got that going on. In the meantime, speaking of quarterbacks, did you get a chance to watch some or all of the John Gruden quarterback class segment, Seth Hennigan?
I have not watched that yet, no.
Elijah, have you had a chance to see that? It is terrific. It is absolutely terrific. And, I mean, Gruden, I know he has his detractors, and I think he's cool. And he said, I mean, some of the things he said about Seth was,
Do we get a lot of Spider 2 White Banana talk?
No, but some of the play calls that he had Seth do, you think about it and go, my gosh, this is like, just to listen to the calls of a quarterback. And that's why one of the things I love about the UFL and watching a game on television and listening to the quarterback call the play in the huddle, like, how do you remember all this stuff? It's like some kind of like scientific equation, some formula. I'm like, my gosh. And so Seth is rattling off those in front of Gruden. Gruden's got that little smile, that little smirk. And he does look like a real-life Chucky doll. He really does. But he's got the smile, like that little mischievous smile. And then he came out on social media and he said, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, there was a lot of things I like about Seth Hennigan, but I don't get why he changes his number every single year. I still don't understand that one. But he said they showed a lot of his downfield passes. And he goes, I don't understand why there's a knock on the vertical passing game of Memphis and your ability to throw it down the field, because I'm looking at tape and I'm seeing it all the time. And he's going back. He went back to his freshman year, and it's, maybe not as much last year because of what defenses were doing than his previous 3. But it's there. It's part of the game plan. Tim Cramsey's throwing down the field. And while he doesn't have the biggest cannon in the world, he's got a pretty strong arm. So I don't know if he'll get drafted, but he has a chance. And if not, he's going to be in a camp, and hopefully he can shine and make a team, make at least a travel, not a travel roster, but a practice roster, and be a part of it. You have the possibility of Rock Taylor being drafted. His stock has gone up. He was at the combine. And Chandler Martin was not at the combine, but a lot of positive things are being said about him. So out of those 3 guys, maybe they get one of them drafted, which would be nice. But in any case, those guys will all have opportunities, and others, to showcase their skills with a team. They'll be undrafted free agents, can pick their poison, not all cases, but they'll have some options if they don't get drafted. But I know they want it. Look, I would imagine as a player, you want to hear your name called.
It's certainly cool to hear your name called, and obviously for Hennigan. I mean, all it takes is one name that has some of those extra late round picks that everybody loves quarterbacks. So if you can, use one of those on a quarterback who might have a chance, I certainly could see him getting drafted late in this draft. And the other guys, obviously very productive for Chandler Martin the last couple of years. And while he might not be the prototypical guy they're looking for size-wise, everything else, sometimes some teams will just look at the pure production and say, like, I'm willing to give that guy a chance. Yep. Like, that's a guy that I'm willing to use a late draft pick on because he's just productive on the field. Forget everything else. The guy just makes plays. And so certainly could see him getting that opportunity as well. And again, if not, then there'll be undrafted free agent guys that will get their opportunity to go in and try and earn a spot somewhere on a roster, or at very least a practice squad.
Gruden said Seth Hennigan's experience in the Senior Bowl was nothing short of storybook. As everyone knows, he was at it late and led the team to a game-winning touchdown on the final drive of the game, the final pass of the game. And here's the quote: I loved almost everything about Seth Hennigan, but who the hell changes jersey numbers every year? What an awesome young man with some great stories. One other football note: Colorado announces that they will retire the jersey numbers of Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders this weekend at their spring game. And to each his own. Do whatever you want to do. Travis Hunter is a Heisman winner. And I look back at their history. They have 4 retired numbers, including former Heisman winner, the late Rashaan Salam. But the great Cordell Stewart's number is not retired. Eric Bieniemy rushed for just about 4,000 yards in his days at Colorado. Number not retired. Shedeur Sanders? Really? Seriously?
Well, I mean, it's ridiculous, but we know why it's happening.
Is he related to the coach?
At least they're not retiring both Sanders jerseys.
You're leaving Shiloh out? Come on, man. I saw this. I just, like, come on. What, are you kidding me? It's funny because Travis is like a son, right, to Coach Prime. So he's like a son. Then he has his 2 sons. So he's got Shedeur, he's got Shiloh, and Travis is basically a son. It's like the Mannings, except they're all blood, they're all kin, but you have Eli, you have Peyton, and you have poor Cooper, had the injury and all that. So Cooper's kind of like the odd man. He's like the Shiloh of the Sanders family. He's of the Manning family. It's 1 out, 2 in, and 1 okay. It's a little quick to put even Travis's jersey retirement. But you want to put it in there, Heisman winning, unbelievable player, certainly. Shedeur, a very good quarterback. It's not like they won the national title or this. I don't know. Again, to each his own.
I don't know. I'm not sure I've ever heard of a school retiring jerseys of guys literally before they've even been drafted into the NFL.
Never heard of it.
Nope. Maybe it's happened elsewhere. I don't know. I don't. Never heard of that one. Before they even basically leave campus, you're already retiring their jerseys. But hey, again, that's if you want to do that, have at it. Go right ahead, Colorado. Do what you want to do. Do how you want to do it, and I have no problem with whatever you want to do. And you're just setting the standard very low for jersey retirement.
Two sad notes from the world of football. Former NFL tight end Don Hasselbeck. I think I remember having his football card. He died of a heart attack, I believe, yesterday at the age of 70. He's the father of former NFL quarterbacks Matt and Tim Hasselbeck. And brother Bill Oliver passed away yesterday at the age of 85. The longtime assistant coach at Alabama, but a player before that. As a player and assistant coach, part of 5 national titles at Alabama, was a former head coach at UT Chattanooga, and just a football guy through and through. So certainly sad news with the passing of both Don Hasselbeck and brother Bill Oliver.
Yeah, Don Hasselbeck was helping Tim coach at Ensworth when they were here playing Christian Brothers this past year.
Really?
The whole family was on that staff, and so yeah, that's certainly sad news to see that. Yesterday, went over to Elwood's Shack to enjoy some lunch and had the probably my favorite thing on the menu. That would be the Philly cheese brisket wrap, which is absolutely fantastic. But so much stuff, everything on the menu is absolutely. It's always funny being in Elwood's and just listening to people in line trying to decide what they're going to get, because there's so many different options on the menu, all of them delicious. Whether you're looking for barbecue or one of their great burgers or hot dogs or the tacos or the pizza or one of the deli sandwiches, whatever it is. And, of course, it's not just lunch and dinner, but also breakfast as well. Right now, you can go get breakfast. They do breakfast daily from 7 a.m. until 10:30, Monday through Saturday. They open at 8 a.m. on Sunday, and then Saturday and Sunday they also have the extended brunch menu as well from 9 to 3. Full coffee bar at the Park Avenue location as well that you could take advantage of for all you coffee lovers out there. Great food, just absolutely everything on that menu. Again, something for everybody for sure. Both locations serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I went to the original. That's at 4523 Summer Avenue, the Lowe's parking lot there at Summer and Perkins. They have the newer location, although it's not that new anymore, 4040 Park Avenue, right across the street from the U of M. Go check them out. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, great food all the time at Elwood's Shack.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Andy Wise here. For 6 years, I've endorsed Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis and the Mid-South as the standard in affordable luxury. Now get this. Pella just got more affordable. 12 months, no interest, no payments on what Consumer Reports has rated the highest quality windows on the planet, plus 50% off installation. That includes consumer guarantees no other window company will ever match. You have my word. You'll make the wise choice when you choose Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis and the Mid-South.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 12,000 miles per year, $49.99 to its Must finance through KFA, pay for SEO 873.49, MSRP 25,320, Sportage S719 2005, MSRP 30,660, Telluride SG 596,204, MSRP 41,060, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 5/2/25.
Hey, I got my buddy on the line. Hey, Jeff Allen, it's always awesome to see what's going on over there in Gossett, Kia, South Mount Moriah. What you got up your sleeve?
I'm making magic, Randy. I've got a new ride under $6 a day. 2025 Kia K4 LXS $159 a month. 2025 Kia Sportage EX, $269 per month. And get more power, larger cargo area than a Nissan Pathfinder in a 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $398 a month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
We're online at KiaMountMoriah.com. Attention construction pros. Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed business photos and sell contact info. Inspect online or in person with our no reserve policy. Every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit PurpleWave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals, your next great purchase awaits.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:53 is the time. We got Humdinger's Trivia coming your way to open up Hour 2, followed by Parker Fleming as we get back into the Grizzlies conversation. As you said at the start of the show, happy playing day, the first of the playing games tonight with 2 games, and then 2 games tomorrow. And I said, well, I was going to say happy tax day, although it's never happy unless you're getting a big return. But now, of course, it's a moot point here with everything pushed back to November 3rd, even though you and I both had our taxes done. So.
No, you had yours done. I did mine.
Right. I didn't know how to phrase that. So, Mary, if you're listening, I
gave
you all the love
let's
in hour
get this
1.
straight. You had yours done. I did mine.
Yes. I used to pay a lot of money for taxes. When I was in TV and I was doing so much stuff, I have different, I'm like freelance, certainly with my work for ESPN Plus and then work for Learfield and all that. So you know what it is. You got more than me now as far as different.
I paid a lot of money last night.
Yeah. Yeah. But I used to go to, I guess I won't say the service out there, I don't want to put them down or anything. They did a great job, except every year it would keep going up and up and up. And because, I get a paycheck from this or I get few paychecks from that, get my W-2 from here, they kept adding it up. And man, I was paying like $575 for my taxes. Like, that's ridiculous. So here comes TurboTax. Get the job done.
I'm an HR block.
Yeah, well, like I said, I won't say the name.
I'm a chip off the old block.
It's a good service. The blocks have been around for a long time, providing tax services.
I don't even know why I switched to doing it on H&R Block, other than because I used to do it on TurboTax, but some reason, I don't know. One year I switched over to H&R Block, and I don't know why I did that, but I did.
Wait, so you do it like an online H&R Block?
Yes.
So you don't go to the people. I mean, I would go to the people.
No, I do it myself.
I was a people kind of person. So you go flip-flop from Turbo to HR. I go from HR to Turbo, but I went from the real HR, the people. So anyway, the point I was going to make was it was a happy tax day, playing day. It's also Jackie Robinson Day.
It is indeed.
Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. And then 50 years later, which was 97, is when they retired his number. Yeah, 50 years. So that was 1997. He broke the color barrier, making his Dodgers debut in 1947. And now here we are in 2025. And, of course, the one thing that Major League Baseball does extremely well is the gesture of having the number 42 donned by all the players each April 15th. I don't know if there is more things you can do, but I do know I read a story today from USA Today that it's time to show more love for Jackie Robinson and what he meant to Major League Baseball, to people of color, and changing the game. And we've talked about this before with guests who played baseball that happened to be African American, about why the numbers are down. Hispanics, certainly the numbers are up as far as playing baseball. But, you know, this is a great day. It's a great day in baseball to honor a great person. Again, this was 1947. So you do your math real quick, 53, 25, 78 years ago today.
Yeah, always a cool day that they do that, and it's good. I think it's fantastic that Major League Baseball continues to do that, and whether they need to do more, I don't know if you need to do any more or not, whatever. But this is a nice thing that they do every single year.
I think it's a great gesture. I really do. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, as I mentioned, we open up hour 2 with Humdinger's Trivia. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
In Bartlett. Come in today for award-winning barbecue and so much more. Catfish, steak burgers, chicken, certified prime Angus beef steaks, along with all the sides, homemade rolls, delicious desserts, beer, and service that is out of this world. Fat Larry's cooks everything made to order just for you. Dine in or order online at fatlarrys.com. For the best barbecue, southern cooking, and friendly atmosphere in town. Family owned and proud of it. Fat Larry's, conveniently located at 7537 Highway 70, just west of Appleton.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom-made solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Trying to pick up with more volume across the Hernando de Soto Bridge on 40 East as you come over from West Memphis. Midtown traffic's trying to crank up just a little bit more in the last few minutes, especially on 240 North up by Lamar, headed up towards Union as traffic gets heavier. 385 Billmore Parkway continuing inbound. Dandelions, crabgrass, if you'd like to get rid of all this in your yard, call Lawn Solutions today. They are the best and they're affordable. Lawn Solutions, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis, with Dave Wolo, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome in. If you're just tuning in, 8 o'clock is the time on this Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you. We're broadcasting live. We're live and local. We're in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, that's located at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. They got you set for spring, pool time, and all that good stuff. Go see them at Family Leisure. Currently 57 degrees, going to get up to 68 today, sunshine. Who knows, maybe a couple of degrees higher and hit that 70 mark. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44 degrees. Hour 2 of the program brought to you by the great folks at James Gaddis Jewelers. I'll give you more of the particulars a little bit later on in the hour, but it is Tuesday. You know what that means. It is time for Humdinger's Trivia.
That's right. Opportunity for somebody out there to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers over at Poplar and Massey. That's where you find Humdingers, and that's where you're going to find the great items on the menu, from their great grilled fish to any of those great appetizers or sandwiches. Of course, on Tuesdays, it's Taco Tuesday. And that means the tacos, chicken and fish tacos, just $2 each. That's each and every Tuesday that you can take advantage of that deal. I went last Tuesday, as a matter of fact, for Taco Tuesday over to Humdingers and got me a couple of those chicken tacos. Big old tacos. That's for $2. It's just an absolutely fantastic deal. But again, so many different things on that menu. The great grilled fish, all kinds of different grilled fish options, the great toppings, the great sides. Appetizers like the crispy calamari or the wings or the crab cakes, the sandwiches like the po' boys or the piri piri burger. You can check it out at humdingersrestaurant.com. See the entire menu right there. Also on the website, you can get information about catering. If you've got an event you need catered, they could certainly do a great job with that as well. And all that information right there on the website, humdingersrestaurant.com. You can also order online on the website to go pick it up over at Humdingers. And if you can answer today's trivia question correctly and be the first to do so, well, then you'll win a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. And you can answer via text on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. Text in those answers, and the first correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate. If you've won in the last 30 days, you are not eligible, and you only get one guess. We're testing you on your, I guess, kind of current events sports knowledge today after the NBA's regular season wrapped up, of course, on Sunday. The question is this: which player scored the most points in a game this season in the NBA? Which player scored the most points in a game this season in the NBA? 360-8255, 360-8255. Text in those answers on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line. First correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. Which player scored the most points in a game this season in the NBA.
All right, again, as you guys know, tonight the NBA postseason begins with a couple of play-in games. The one of interest locally is, of course, Memphis at Golden State. We're very pleased to be joined by our good friend Parker Fleming to talk all things Grizzlies. He covers the Grizzlies, the NBA draft. For Substack, it's called Substack Elitis, and this is a free, all his writing is absolutely free, but any money that you want to donate will go to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital through Allies. And Parker, thank you so much for joining us. By the way, you can follow him on Twitter at Paca_Flocka. How are you doing, man?
Greg, I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be back on the show. How are you doing?
We're good. You know, a little anticipation, a little apprehension, if you will. Here's a Golden State team that before the season started, we started to look at who was going to be formidable in the West. And I think most people came to the consensus that probably Golden State's time had dried up. And so during the year, they were okay. Nobody looked at that as any big threat. And the Grizzlies were cruising along, sitting there in second place. Lo and behold, they make a trade. They bring in Jimmy Buckets. And the rest is history. That team has been playing some really good basketball and will be a formidable foe for the Grizzlies tonight. So my question to you right off the bat is, how do the Grizzlies beat the Golden State Warriors tonight?
Yeah, I wrote about it on my Substack. I went back to my GDB roots and wrote a game preview on this. And I think what it really boils down to is foul trouble, specifically with Jaren Jackson Jr. Because, I know, you have to worry about foul trouble with Zach Edey as well, being a rookie big man. But with Jaren Jackson Jr., it's year 7, and he's still dealing with foul issues. Mm-hmm. And really right now, especially without Brandon Clark and Jalen Wells. Great. With those guys already, they were struggling defensively. But now that they're both out, the defense is essentially a house of cards right now, Greg. And the person that can hold it together is Jaren Jackson Jr. And if he's in foul trouble, it reduces the margin of error probably down to 0, to be honest, especially in a high-leverage game. Because the Grizzlies, to win this game, they need John Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. playing 38 to 40 minutes if they want to steal this one on the road and snatch up the 7th seed. It's going to boil down to Jaren Jackson Jr. Not also because what he provides offensively. He's a mismatch. He's too fat. He's too big for 4s, too fast for 5s. The Warriors only have one player in the rotation that is taller than 6'9", and it's rookie big man Quentin Post, and he's not going to pose a threat to Jaren Jackson Jr. Or anything in matchups or anything. So I think it all boils down to, can Jaren Jackson Jr. stay out of foul trouble, which has been the question for the Memphis Grizzlies probably since 2022.
So, as we look back at the way this went and ending up here as the 8th seed in the play-in from at one point being in the 2 spot in the Western Conference, how do you believe we ended up here? What happened?
It boiled down to the inability to beat great teams. I do think maybe that little lull where Taylor Jenkins had lost the locker room reportedly, that could have played a factor, because in those stretch of games they lost to Sacramento and Portland, teams that you look on paper and you're like, okay, Memphis should beat this team. Mm-hmm. And people, they point to the trade deadline of Marcus Smart and Jake Laravia, but let's not do revisionist history here. People were like, oh, they should have just kept Marcus Smart or Jake Laravia. For probably about a year or so, people complained about Jake Laravia, and they didn't want him taking time away from Gigi and Vince. And then also too, if a year ago today somebody told you get a second round pick for Jake Laravia, you'd be like, oh, that's good business. Mm-hmm. With Marcus Smart, he wasn't healthy. He wasn't healthy, and if you look at the numbers, the fit was him and Ja, which is also why you traded for Marcus Smart. It wasn't good because you have 2 smaller, undersized guards that can't shoot. And again, he wasn't healthy. You just think he would have been healthy. for this stretch of play. So, I mean, I know people are going to point to the trade deadline, but, like, also, too, let's tell it how it is. The Western Conference is insanely loaded, and beneath them, you had one team that made a generational trade. Like I think the last time we've seen a trade like the Luka trade mid-season, I think they said something on a broadcast, but like Wilt back in the 70s, and then the Clippers got Kawhi healthy, the Warriors, like you said, got Jimmy Butler, and then the Timberwolves finally found their recipe for what got them to the Western Conference Finals last year, and they made a surge. Like, the Grizzlies got cold at the wrong time, and other teams got hot at the right time. Like, it's just kind of as simple as that.
Well, let me jump in and say this, and you're a very optimistic person when it comes to the Grizzlies, and you look for the. I think, unless correct me if I'm wrong, and you look
I don't
for the
think I
positives.
gave anything optimistic there. Like, they got cold.
No. But I mean, I think you're more of a half full than half empty guy. I mean, just in life in general, right? And so one thing I really like about you. And I'm probably more a half empty guy. So that's probably what my wife doesn't like about me. But here's the thing, though, and you're absolutely right about Smart and LaRavia. You're right on, dead on. But you're not going to get Luka Doncic in a trade. It's obvious. Last year, remember what Dallas did right before the trade deadline and the moves they made, and they were able to turn that into a trip to the NBA Finals. The point is that they ended up getting rid of Smart, getting that money back, right? They always talk about they're not afraid to spend money, but they got the money back on the Smart trade. Got rid of LaRavia. Okay, again, fine. They didn't do anything, though. They didn't add. To me, it tells me when there were rumors out there that they were actually kicking the can on Durant or Butler, and I don't know which one they said was false, but one was it Durant was false and Butler was accurate? I mean, whatever it was, there was Zach Kleiman looking at the possibility of adding to the team. And while you can't get the big name, Butler goes to Golden State, Durant doesn't go anywhere. You could have done something because it tells me that you don't feel you have the team to really contend when you're starting to look at trying to add pieces. Then you know what? Add a piece. Do something. We saw Dallas do it. We've seen other teams do it. They did not. And especially if there's internal strife going on, you have to do something to shake it up. What does he do? He waits till later on in the season, gets rid of a coach that at that time they were tied for fourth. They finished eighth. This is not on Isolo. But what do you expect to change the whole atmosphere, change the offense and defense in a matter of days? I think Zach Kleiman has made some poor moves or did not make a move that should have been made to put them in a better position. That's my thoughts on it.
So, for one, I will say that the moves that they rejected, like in talks or in the media, or the rumors, it was Jimmy Butler. Zach Kleiman did not, or said that there was no truth to the Jimmy Butler rumor. But like one thing I also try to look at when it comes to moves and no moves and stuff like that is that you got to look at who actually got moved, because you can't be like, oh, the Grizzlies could have gotten Cam Johnson. Well, Cam Johnson didn't get traded. Like I'll look at the trade headline right now, and Caleb Martin, that doesn't move. That you look at that, and you're like, oh, that doesn't really move the needle. Brandon Ingram was another big name that got traded at the trade deadline. He didn't play for Toronto. He had PRP injections in both his ankles.
Yeah. But do we know what they offered for Cam Johnson? Did they offer? Do we know what they offered?
No, we don't know what they offered for Cam Johnson. At the end of the day, he didn't get traded. I mean, look at the game. Chris Middleton, Kyle Kuzma, two names that's Kyle Kuzma's been horrible for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Hunter is one where you're like, oh, yeah, the Smart contract would fit in there perfectly. But it looked like Atlanta wanted the expiring contract of Karis LeVert, and Marcus Smart isn't expiring. So, and then the Heat didn't want to trade Andrew Wiggins. That's why the Grizzlies couldn't hop in the Jimmy Butler trade either. So I try to look at what actually happened, what the Grizzlies could have done,
mm-hmm.
and what could have helped their team, and what's the offers. For example, with the Dorian Finney-Smith, the Brooklyn Nets, they valued the expiring contract. Again, I know there was some reporting of haggling over the protections of a first-round pick, but at the end of the day, they got $20 million in expiring money and a young prospect, even if it was 3 seconds with D'Angelo Russell and Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, compare that offer to Luke Kennard, John Conchar, and then a first-round pick that you already have 5 in this draft. Like, what's the better offer?
Right. No,
You know?
I agree with that part. Yeah, with Dorian Finney-Smith, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
But yes, you want to see trades made, and I'm the proponent. They got to bolster their perimeter defense this summer, whether it's trades or the mid-level exception. They got to bolster their perimeter defense. And I look at the landscape of the trade deadline, and I'm like, well, really, the only thing you look at is like, maybe they should have stayed pat. I look at the other teams that made moves, like the Clippers. I got Bogdanovich. That's not a needle mover. Oklahoma City and Houston both made salary cap moves as well. Like, you know, the only teams that really did something and that really stand out are the Lakers and the Warriors, and those are big time trades because those involve stars and all that. So, yeah.
No, good job in clarifying a lot of that.
If they win tonight, what kind of a chance do you give them against Houston?
I like their chances against Houston better than I do if they played OKC.
Sure,
obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I said that and I'm like, hey, Parker, that's really obvious. Good job there. But no, I think the thing that gives me a bit more optimism with the Houston Rockets is you can walk into that series and comfortably say you have the best player on the floor with Ja Morant. And you could potentially say that depending on what you look at between Jaren Jackson, Alperen Şengün as well. And then you go down the list, you go down to who's the 4th best player in the series. You're likely going to you're hoping that Desmond Payne outplays any of Amin Thompson, Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet. So, and also too, the thing that's underrated with that series is Zach Edey's a little bit more valuable in that series in that against OKC, they're going to put him in 1,000 Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pick and rolls, and he's going to get mid-range jumper after mid-range jumper. I don't see that same thing happening with Houston because they like to play Alperen Şengün. They like to play Steven Adams. They like to play those two together. You also don't know how a team of young guys is going to respond to a playoff series. And yeah, they have Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams in their rotation, but their core, Şengün, Green, Jabari Smith, Amin Thompson, Tari Eason, those guys haven't played in the playoffs before. And with that, you have a little bit more optimism. Granted, with the way the Grizzlies have been playing and the perimeter, just the whole perimeter defense stuff for me, and the fact that they won't have home court, Houston may ultimately win that series, but if you're looking at the likelihood percentages of winning, it's closer to a 60-40 or 50, or I'd say 60-40 just because Houston has home court advantage. But at the end of the day, you're comfortable knowing that, hey, not only do we have the best player on the floor, but we might, aside from Adams and VanVleet and Brooks, you have a decent amount of experience when you're talking about core guy versus core guy.
Yeah, the Dylan Brooks factor, I mean, that's something to take into consideration. But I agree with your assessment as far as that one. Oklahoma City, they have no chance. They don't have a shot in hell. But they got to still get there. If they don't win tonight, they got to win Friday. Now, that's the thing, and I've been saying for the last few days. I don't expect them to win tonight, but they can. They can win. I don't think that it's impossible. I just don't expect them to win tonight. But I expect them to beat whoever it is they play Friday. Whether it's Dallas, who, again, they played on Sunday, but that was the Cam Spencer Yuki game. Or if it's Sacramento. And I know Sacramento has some stars. You have to win that game. There's no excuses. If you're talking about this supposed big three that we've been talking about for years now, and you can't beat a Sacramento or a Dallas to get into the playoffs in a one-game scenario where you have home court advantage, then you got to blow it up. Something's completely wrong.
Well, I don't think blow it up. Well, frankly,
no, I mean, I'm serious. I'm talking about Kleiman losing his job. I mean, seriously, you can't go into another offseason the same crap every single year with this team. Come on, man. We can't keep doing it. The window's open.
I mean,
that's what I keep hearing. The window's open. They're young. The window's open. It's the same deal. Guys get hurt.
Right.
You know.
I mean, frankly, I think no matter what happens, I just think you just get aggressive building around the big three. You bolster the team around them. You push in chips to add veterans, whether that's pushing in all the chips to go get a star, or doing essentially what Dallas did. You go chip here, and you go get guys that complement your big three, and you give them one more shot with a. So you say, all right, we did everything we can to build around the big three. You know, that's kind of where I fall. I don't think it has to get that aggressive for blow it up, because if you blow it up, you're back to square one. You know. But
well, do you have confidence they can find those players? Do you have confidence they can find the surrounding players? And then who's coaching? Is it Isolo? Is it somebody else? So give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think they can find the players, and you know, with the coaching landscape right now, even with Malone or Mike Brown out there, like, I'm confident it can be Isolo. I do think I want to see him with his own ship instead of having to steer a ship away from an iceberg.
Yeah.
But no, I'm confident. But also, I'm also with you on this week's games. Tonight, I'll believe when I see it when it comes to them winning. I'm not going to predict that they win, but they have to win Friday. You're at home. You have a team that finished at least 9-10 games below you and win-loss. Like, you got to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
So so you don't expect them to win tonight?
It's bullshit when I see it. They've been like, what, 1-15 or 1-14 since February against playoff teams, and they're on the road.
0-8 on the West Coast. 0-8 on the West Coast this year.
Yeah, and then Golden State, I want to say that after the trade deadline, they won over 65% of their games. It's a tough game. Like, I'm not going to be oblivious to that. I will say the play of John Morant recently gives you more of a fighting chance to steal this game on the road. But in the end, it's just all going to boil down to, can Jaren Jackson Jr. stay on a foul trouble, because he is their key, really, to winning this game.
Look, I love the fact that we finally got the three together. They're playing.
Yeah.
They're healthy somewhat. You know, it's the end of the year. Everybody's got bruises and bumps and things like that. Look, I already know what's going to happen if they lose twice this week. They didn't have Jalen Wells. They didn't have Brandon Clark. We're going to hear that. It's like, please, spare me. They got the three guys, right? They have their three stars. This is the time for those guys to step up, and I think your assessment of Jaren Jackson Jr. is absolutely right. What do you think, last question for you, what do you think Isolo will do with his rotation? And give me kind of a guesstimate on the minutes you think the big three will get.
I think if there's no foul trouble, they'll play 38 to 40 minutes. You've seen in these big games recently that they've gone 8. They'll do the spot 9, where they'll have the nice guy play 3 minutes in the first half just to get a feel. But I'm with the belief they'll obviously go to the starting lineup: Ja Bane, Vince, Jaren, Edey, and then Scottie Pippen Jr., Santi Aldama, and then I think they'll play either of Luke Kennard or John Conchar, depending on what they think that they need in that game, between shooting and defense.
Okay, so John Conchar, deep on the bench the whole season, and now could be a rotation player in the postseason. It's crazy. I mean, heck, people are talking about Lamar Stevens maybe sneaks in for some minutes. You know, here's a guy who they added again this year to a 10-day and then decided to give him a contract for the rest of the season after being a part of last year's debacle when there was 800 players that played. So, look, they have a chance to redeem themselves. It was rocky. We don't know all the inner happenings behind closed doors that was going on, right? But this team was in second, and then they were right there tied for fourth when they let go Taylor, and they ended up 8th. But they have a chance. It's the redeem team. They have a chance to go out there and do something, especially tonight, if they can knock off the Warriors and then face the Rockets, because I'm with you, Parker. I think they have a really good chance Not a great chance, but I think they have a really good chance to knock off the Rockets, and they have no chance to knock off Oklahoma City. Tell everybody about Subsocolitis and how folks can look at and read your stuff, and then also help out St. Jude in the process.
Yeah, so Subsocolitis, you can find it anywhere. I post everything on, obviously it's on Substack, but I post everything on Twitter and Blue Sky, if people still use that. I don't think so, but yeah, it's free, and but if you choose to be a paid subscriber, all your money goes to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Way to go, my friend. Great stuff as always. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. Have a good one.
Thank you, Parker.
So we do have a winner in our Humdinger's trivia for the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. And no tiebreaker needed today, Elijah. You are free and clear today of tiebreaker status. The question was, which player scored the most points in a game this season in the NBA? Do you know the answer to this? Do you know this one?
This year's highest scoring player.
There were two players who scored at least 60 in a game this year. Only two.
Second place is De'Aaron Fox.
That is correct, with 60.
Was it Jokic?
It is Jokic with 61. The most points in a game this season in the NBA. A lot of folks going with SGA, but he is not number one on that list. He will be number one in the MVP voting, but he is not number one on this list. Nikola Jokic is the correct answer. And while we had a few different folks who got that correct answer, there was one who was quicker than the rest of them. So we have ourselves a winner, and we'll be notifying them and letting them know how to get your $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's.
Hour 2, Sports 56 Mornings, is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. James and Linda just, I think they're back now from Antwerp. They made their annual trip over to get the diamonds. That's where you get them, in Antwerp, in Belgium. And they now have these beautiful diamonds ready to sell you for your engagements this year, for your weddings, your personally designed wedding sets that they have now for you, but all these new, beautiful diamonds, all shapes, all sizes, all different price range. They make sure they have a price point to suit everyone's budget. So if you're thinking that you can't afford it, think again. Go in there and see what they have to offer with these beautiful new diamonds just in time for spring, summer, and fall engagements, but also for all your other jewelry needs. If you're looking for a beautiful watch, they have watches of all types for both men and women, bracelets and necklaces and earrings and pendants and gemstones of all types. So many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. They have 2 repair experts to help you with your fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing is always available. James Gaddis Jewelers, they're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 4. They're closed on Sunday. They are your family's jeweler, been around for 6 decades in Memphis. Go visit them at 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick. Again, you can also check out their beautiful jewelry on the web. Website is gaddisjewelers.com. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
In the air, and that means it's time to get your Choate's AC tune-up. Choate's has proudly served the Mid-South for 67 years, and to celebrate, we're offering our AC tune-up for just $67 per unit. Make sure your system is running efficiently before the summer heat arrives. But hurry, this special offer won't last long. And if you're thinking about upgrading your system, now's the time. Install a new Carrier HVAC system and choose your deal. Up to $2,100 in instant cool cash rebates, 60 months no interest financing, or free air duct cleaning with install. It's time to spring clean with Choate's and enjoy cleaner air, better comfort, and big savings. Call 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com to schedule your service today. Turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
I think I'm a bad golfer. I know I'm a bad golfer. This is your
business, I have refined and perfected my highly successful strategic marketing program. In golf, forget about my normal 5 strokes on the par 3. But remember the home I just closed in November with 2 offers at full list price. Okay, let's review. If you're thinking of selling, wouldn't you want an experienced player on your team to lead you to the closing table? Someone whose background is marketing and not merely putting a sign in the yard. And remember what people often say, that when you want the job done, call who? Shell Dunn. You can reach me, Shell Dunn Rosengarten, at MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546. It's 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. And go Tigers.
Hey there, I'm Jack. And I'm Stag. We're just 2 deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks, you know, like us.
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
Briggs Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Briggs Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Briggs can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Briggs Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Briggs Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or BriggsPowderCoating.com.
This Rebel Yow is back. Rebel Yow online radio show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Nancy Porter with 24/7 Sports. Your Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Moore covering SEC sports film, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey from kickoff to free throw to extra innings. Your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yow Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Trying to build a little bit more with some volume on Bill Morris Parkway coming inbound. We've already had a couple of wrecks out there on 385 this morning. It's got a little bit heavier, 40 west, passing Germantown Parkway all the way down to Sycamore View Road as you get up on that 240 flyover. Some of that traffic already getting on to Sam Cooper coming inbound. Weimer's Jewelry, they want you to know they are your diamond engagement ring headquarters this coming bridal season. Go see them today and shop local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I had mentioned earlier the passing of Brother Bill Oliver, who is synonymous with college football, specifically in the South and with Alabama, part of 5 championships as a player and assistant coach, but had made the rounds, was with a number of different schools. And I didn't know this. This was Jarvo just sent me this. He said, heard about Brother Bill, good dude. Don't know if you said this, but he was an assistant coach with the original Showboats under Pepper Rogers. He coached the defensive backs. Jarvo said he actually, this is Jarvo, did training camp with them for a series. George Plimpton style. I don't know if you folks remember George Plimpton. I'll tell you about him in a second. But Jarvo did this with the Boats, working with the D-backs. I was a year out of school and still in shape. It was called Showtime for Showboats and still exists somewhere. Brother Bill was cool, was a cool person, and the players loved him. Plimpton was a guy who was a writer, but he would go out and become a part of a team or whatever it was and then write about it. Because I remember I think it was called Paper Lion. He was with the Detroit Lions for camp or whatever, and they're knocking him around and all that. And then I think he was a goaltender one time and maybe wrote a book about being a hockey goaltender. But the guy's name was George Plimpton. Some of you older folks know who I'm talking about. But thank you, Jarvo, for sharing that. So, yeah, Bill Oliver, was, like I said, he was around a lot of programs. Obviously was with the Showboats as well. All right, getting back to the Grizzlies. I understand that they're not the Washington Wizards. Okay, things could be a lot worse. They are a postseason team. This was a good, not a great season. We'll see how it finishes up and how we all look at it and evaluate it. But my point with Parker was that doesn't it get tiresome for you folks out there who are fans of this team that they're good but they're not good enough, that they can't get over the hump for whatever the reason is, whether it's Ja suspended or there's injuries or something else? It's always something. There's always excuses. And I'm just saying, if you accept that, that's fine. It's not accepting mediocrity because they're not that. They have had some really good teams and good runs, but why can't they get over the hump? You look at Oklahoma City. I mean, a market, similar size market. They had their chances years ago when they had the big three with Durant and Westbrook and Harden, and that just blew up in their face. And now they have this opportunity with the great players they have on this team, all young and ready to seize the moment right now. We've been talking about this now for a number of years with Memphis, that they have those players. And whatever it is, there's always something. So again, Zach Kleiman's done some really good things. Also, this year it's been a debacle. If they don't make it to the playoffs and win a series, how can you look at this season other than it was a big disappointment? They were sitting there at number 2. They were in position. Now, he talked about some of the trades that, it wouldn't have helped and other trades that maybe they couldn't get, but they try. Yeah, look, if you're trying, I give you credit because it takes 2 to tango. I understand that. But I just don't know what was actually tried, what they were trying to get. All I know is that teams, whether it was Dallas last year, look, the Luka thing was crazy. Even Butler. It's going to be impossible for the Grizzlies to trade for a superstar that's still in his prime or still can help a team out. But you can get players, and you were harping on Cam Johnson, maybe screaming the loudest from the mountaintop, and they still weren't able to get that. The Dorian Finney-Smith thing didn't happen. I think the Lakers package may have been a little bit better. But I go back to Dallas this year, just picking up a couple of bigs. That's what they needed to add to that team with Luka and Kyrie. Now, 2 superstars. Memphis does not have 2 superstars. They got a big 3 with 1 superstar. But when I say blow it up, I'm talking about making the draft. To me, it wouldn't be crazy. Once again, if they fail to get to where they want to get with these 3, that you look to deal. You're not going to deal Ja, but you look to deal one of the other 2. I mean, I know it's crazy talk, but are people accepting the same thing over and over again? When can they push past the finish line first? Is it possible? Is it doable? He talked about adding players. Well, again, every year they have a chance to add players. And it seems like the players that help them the most are their second-round draft picks. I think Edey was a good pick at 10. They failed on some of these first-round picks.
They went at 9.
Well, number 9. But you know the point. They have had more success with the second-rounders than they've had the first-rounders, with the exception, obviously, of John Morant and Dez. I understand. But the free agency, the trades, they haven't really worked out. So what do you need to add to those 3 that you think they can get over the hump? Is it even possible with what they have to offer?
Again, I've said this before. If they end up missing out on the playoffs, but even if they get in but go out very quickly with a whimper, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Desmond Bane was moved in the offseason. Possibly. I don't think Ja would be. I don't think Jaren would be.
Mm-hmm.
Jaren's going to make All-NBA in all likelihood. I don't know that I've seen any that don't have him, and these are actual voters who are talking about what their votes are. So I would assume that he is going to make All-NBA. And if he does, I think there's a good chance that they will lock him up with the extension this offseason and get that done.
Yep, they will.
And I don't know that they're going to want to be paying that Supermax along with 2 other max contracts. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Bane was shopped. And maybe they don't even get a deal. Maybe they can't get a deal done. I don't know. But I think there's a good chance he ends up being shopped if that is the case. But it's, again, it's unfortunate that they will, once again, go into a postseason or at least attempt to make the postseason, whatever we want to call the play-in. I don't know. Without a full arsenal, which has been the case every single season, but that's just the way it is. They do have the main three. I do think Brandon Clark is a big injury. I mean, Jalen Wells, yes, he started all year. And he's been great for what he is. I mean, a second-round guy in his rookie year to do what Jalen Wells is, but you've got other guys who can fill that role.
But remember,
Brandon Clark they don't really have anybody to fill his role.
Yeah, but he was coming off an Achilles surgery that nobody even knew what he was going to be able to do and whether he can get back to even being himself. You're banking on that. Obviously, he played pretty well, but
he just provides something they don't have to replace him. Like he is at that center position, his versatility and his ability to switch and do things. They don't have that guy. Jalen Wells, they have other guys. It's just a factual statement. They don't have another guy like Brandon Clark. So it is what it is. Again, he's not playing. You got to deal with that. You move along and you have to figure out a way to get in the playoffs. Again, if it's the 8 seed, you're playing Oklahoma City, there will be no expectation whatsoever. I mean, most people will believe that it's probably going to be a sweep, and you have no chance whatsoever. If you play Houston, again, Houston will be an overwhelming favorite, as anybody would be at a 2-7, but it's a team that certainly, on paper, while they took 3 out of 4, there were very close games against Houston all year long. Seemingly all those games came down to the wire. It's a team that, as Parker talked about, again, there's not much. There is some playoff experience, but the main guys, kind of the guys who are going to be with the ball in their hands most of the time, no playoff experience whatsoever. So it's certainly a matchup that you can feel like going in, there's a chance. And so if you go in there and get swept by Houston, that would be certainly very disappointing. And again, I think then you start looking at this roster and have to start making some tough decisions on who needs to be here, who doesn't need to be here, and how do you build around. See, because I think if they go out quickly, it become the more of the thought will be, how do we build around Ja and Jaren? I don't know that necessarily it would be, how do we build around Ja, Jaren, and Bane?
Okay, so let's take a look at this. John Morant's rookie season was, Jaren Jackson Jr. was 2018-19, right? That was his rookie season. John Morant was 2019-20, and Des Bane was 2020-2021. So you hit on all 3 of those guys. Now, minus injuries and suspension and all that, Ja obviously was a no-brainer. Everybody in their right mind would have picked Ja. Now, if Memphis had won that lottery, they would have picked Zion. But they got Ja, fell on their lap. They got Dez, which was a great pick, and they got Jackson, which was a great pick. So you got your 3. You got your 3 guys. This is from 2018-19, 19-20, and 2021. 2018 missed the playoffs. 2019 missed the playoffs. 2020 was COVID, missed the playoffs, lost in the play-in. 2021 lost in the first round. 2022 they did have a big year, 56-26 semifinals. They won their first round series, got to the semis, lost. 2023 lost in the first round. Last year missed the playoffs. This year they're in the play-in, missed the playoffs, but they might be in the playoffs obviously if they win a game this week. That is not really good for the 3 of those guys when you look at the contracts. Desmond Bane under a deal right now with $197 million guaranteed. John Morant with $163 million guaranteed, and it would have been more if Ja didn't screw around, where he would got the Supermax. And then Jaren is in position this summer to make how much? Like, what will his contract be?
I don't remember what exactly it starts at. It's a lot.
It's a lot of money. I mean, do you have a guess? Is it over? I mean, what are we talking about? A couple $100,000? So you're talking about like $600 and something thousand between the three of them invested over these years, all the way through Ja's through 2027-28, Dez is through 2028-29, and Jaren's would probably be through 29.
What, a couple $100,000? What are you talking about?
I mean, $600 million. 1.6 million. I mean, it's 1,000. So you're investing, again, 192, 363, two. Now, maybe more like 575. So you're talking about $575 million. Okay? Not counting what they made as rookies, with their early years.
Jaren's will be a 5-year, 345.
Oh, 345. Okay, so now you're talking about 545. You're talking almost $700 million. Okay? There's your big three. They got a playoff series win in 2022. Is that it? Is that all they won? I mean, come on. But all I hear is the window's open. They're still young. The window's open. Again, what do you accept? If you accept getting into the playoffs or the play-in, they're pretty consistent on that. They're one of the top 10 teams in the West. You know, we'll see what happens with Phoenix, and I think Sacramento. It's not Sacramento. San Antonio's on the rise. Portland just re-up with their coach. They like what they're doing. I mean, teams are going to get better, and some teams will get worse. I mean, I can't imagine New Orleans could have a worse year than the year they had. Point being is nobody's sitting around waiting for the Grizzlies to have their moment in the sun. Oklahoma City went out there, made moves. They had their players, and they still went out in the offseason, got Hartenstein and Caruso to help the team out. The Grizzlies, who were in second, there was nobody better than them in the West for a long time other than Oklahoma City. And then at the trade deadline, they got some money back for Marcus Smart, the lottery-protected first-round pick, and got rid of LaRavia. Again, LaRavia was doing some good things this year. Nobody had high expectations. Okay, I'll throw him a bone on that one. But you didn't add anything. So we're talking about an investment of $700 million after Jackson gets his big deal. And right now, you have a playoff series win to show for it. Nothing? Nothing from the peanut gallery?
I think I think you make valid points. I would ask you too, do you think that the core three with Ja, Jaren, and Dez, do you think that they are currently in their prime?
Yeah. They're in their prime. Here's the thing. I don't know if they can get the pieces around them, and I don't even know if you get some pieces around them if it's good enough to win it all. It could be, but I'm still questioning whether or not the three of them together is that exceptional. We haven't seen it. We're going to see it now. And then we talk about perimeter defense. Well, two of your guys on the perimeter are Ja Morant and Desmond Bane. So how much better can it be adding one more piece? I mean, you got those guys. Dez tries, he gets rebounds. I mean, Ja's a little bit better defensively, but they're not great. And Vince Williams, this is his chance to step up now. I just don't know what. I think he's a slightly above average player. Kennard's been a disappointment. I don't know what's going on. He's not shooting it as much as he used to. Santi, you got to make a decision on him too. Now, you said he played well against Golden State, right?
Yep. It a 21-point game, an 18-point game. He only played 3 of the 4.
Have we taken the break yet, by the way? No? Okay, so I can take the break. All right. But, I mean, I just want to be honest and throw it out there. I'm probably, a rarity in the city that'll say something negative, but they can show me up right now this week. We'll see what happens. We'll take a break, come back, wrap up hour number 2. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and sale contact info. Inspect online or in person with our no reserve policy. Every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals, your next great purchase waits.
Hey, everybody, want to know where all the Chevys are? Where all the deals are? Right here in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Save thousands on your new Silverado truck. Financing as low as 2.9 for 72 months. A new 2500 HD has financing as low as 3.9 and no payments for 90 days. Nothing beats having no payments most of the summer. Absolutely nothing. You could take an extra vacation, and your good credit deserves it. If you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, military, education, recent grad, you get an extra $500 bonus. And All-Star has all the late model pre-owns you're looking for. Camaro, Equinox, Tahoe, Suburban, and tons of Silverados. And if you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. Everyone here at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch asked me to wish you and your family a very happy Easter month. So together, let's drive. Or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. But after looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342.
There's no place like home, Town Village.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Text from John. He says, we could talk about a lot of things regarding the Grizzlies and their struggles this season, but at the end of the day, your superstars have to play the majority of the season to be successful. In this case, one of our superstars can't seem to stay on the court. Has not played more than 67 games in any season since he came into the NBA. Ja has to become stronger and play more games for the Grizzlies to be more successful. The Big Three isn't the Big Three without all three pieces playing at least 70 games a season.
Yes, well said. What's interesting, though, you have some teams that, like the Clippers, who are playing great basketball now and didn't have Kawhi for most of the season, and now he's playing, and he's playing well, and he's healthy. You wonder if, like, they're playing a game. In other words, they know they're going to get to the postseason. They know they're going to win enough, but they make sure that he's not in there as much as he would normally be, so he's well-rested and ready to go for the postseason. I wonder if there's a little gamesmanship going on with some teams, with some of their star players.
Another one. Great teams D up and keep a defensive dog around to push the other guys. Check strong teams and championship teams. Had a D up dog. Got rid of ours. He lifted up Houston.
Yeah. I mean, when Dylan was dealt, I forget what our reaction was. I don't think we were crying in our soup, but I think we came to the conclusion. I know I did, Eli, that I think it was time for him to go, but I knew they were going to lose a dog. I knew they lost a dog when Adams was done, but Adams got hurt, and then, the rest is history with him, and he ends up in Houston. So I have said it. I said it last week. I said it maybe earlier this week. I don't think they have a killer instinct. I think Ja's a dog to a certain extent, but I think they missed that. They don't have that. So, yeah, I'm in agreement with the texter.
I was happy as hell that Dylan Brooks was gone. I always made it quite clear when Dylan Brooks was here. I hate watching Dylan Brooks play basketball. So it was a personal thing with me. And I don't think Dylan Brooks being here is making a big difference on this team.
I don't think so.
So,
but he's helping.
You can
Houston.
disagree with that. That's fine.
He's helping Houston with being a veteran.
I understand the idea. And the idea, the thought was that Marcus Smart was going to be that guy. And he didn't.
Right.
Marcus Smart's inability to stay healthy. And then they eventually just pulled the plug of that. Again, I wanted him to keep Marcus Smart this year, just to have him around. Hopefully he would be healthy and be able to play, but even just being around in the locker room, everything else, I think would have been good for this team. It just wasn't. They decided to go the other route, and I didn't agree with that, but it is what it is.
If I had a player that I could pick out from this year to sit there and talk to him and know that he's going to answer honestly all the questions, it would have been Marcus Smart, or it would be Marcus Smart. I'd like to know what everything was happening, what he was told, what was going on behind closed doors. Get a little bit more, I think, open questions as a veteran player.
And I'll say this about Dylan Brooks, too. If Dylan Brooks could have just learned what his role was offensively, I may not have had as big a problem. I still would have hated to watch him play basketball, but it wouldn't have been a problem. But Dylan Brooks, and the fact that he just didn't understand that he didn't need to be shooting all the time, was a big part of why they decided that they needed to move on from him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of basketball, yesterday I was at the gym, ran into Scott Adebato, who is one of the coaches over at Shoot 360 Memphis. I told you that they have an array of expert coaches that can help you with your game. And Scott is a former assistant coach with the Memphis Grizzlies. That's the type of veteran coaches you get when you go to Shoot 360 Memphis, which is a revolutionary basketball training facility. So what it does is it combines this unbelievable cutting-edge technology. I'm telling you, you've never seen anything like it. You need to see it for yourself. And then they have the gamification, so you can have fun doing so and learning to become this better shooter. And the instant objective feedback with the analytics telling you and the coaches telling you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. They have 2 locations in Cordova, 85 Market Street. You can call them at 901-779-3176. That's the 50,000 square foot facility. And the original on Big Orange Road in Collierville, You can call them at 901-316-5500. You can become a member at both or one or the other, and you can do so by going online to Shoot 360 Memphis. But as I always say, give them a call, set up a tour, check it out, try it out, join for a month because they have monthly memberships, and then I'm guaranteeing you're going to fall in love with it. If you're a basketball player, you're going to fall in love with it. You're going to want to go back, and then you can sign up for months. You go month to month, or you can sign up for a year or whatever you want to do. But the ball is in your yard, as they say, and I think this is a great way to go for all you basketball players out there. They also provide free coaching clinics. So for you coaches out there, make sure to contact them and find out when the next coaching clinic is available. Shoot 360 Memphis. The future of basketball training is here at Shoot 360 Memphis. When we come back, we open up Hour 3 with our weekly golf segment. Mickey Barker will join us. Then we'll get back into the Grizzlies and the NBA and all kinds of other stuff in our final half hour. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Wonderfully easy. If your agent is Margie O'Neill of Remax Expert, Margie has over 20 years of experience in helping folks just like you find their new home. Buyers markets, sellers markets, up and down markets. Margie has sold them all with a dedication that makes it easy for you to buy your new home. Margie O'Neill at Remax.net. That's MARGIE.ONEAL at Remax.net. Or call 901-685-6000 for your new home. Margie O'Neill makes it easy.
He's coming. Here we go. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless.
What a waste!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders Memphis. In the wake of the large storm systems that passed through the Mid-South, our 8 shingle crew, 3 TPO commercial flat roof crews, and even 2 metal and tile crews are all out assisting policyholders. We won't stop until all have been restored to pre-storm condition. Many homes throughout the Mid-South were hit by hail, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and yes, even 2-inch hail fell in the Mid-South. Many times hail damage will go unnoticed. Many people think it's no big deal. However, shingles and yes, even metal roofs are compromised. In time, show signs of leaks and on metal leaks, rust due to breaking the coating, which in turn ends up leaking. If you had hail and high winds, look up, or better yet, have us come look for you. Water left unattended will turn into health issues in the home and the business. Our staff will perform inspections free. That's right, free inspections of all the roof, attic, and interior to ensure that no shingle panel or insulation go unturned. Call Metro Builders now. Call us. 375-1717. That's 375-1717. Or check us out online at metrobuildersmemphis.com.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. Miramichi is now open on Mondays, and you'll find the lowest rate is on Thursday. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Trying to build a little bit more with volume coming down the interstate here on 40 westbound from Germantown Parkway down to Sycamore View Road. Couple of wrecks and they're clearing stages, watching an increase with that traffic volume on 240 right now going northbound up by Lamar. All that traffic trying to get up into the Midtown area. Dandelions, crabgrass, you want to get rid of all this in your yard? Call Lawn Solutions today. These guys are absolutely the best. Lawn Solutions, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:05 the time. Final hour for us today here on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you, broadcasting live and local from the Family Leisure Studios. Currently 59 degrees, going to warm up to 68 today. Sunshine, beautiful day. 44 tonight for your low with clear skies. And then tomorrow, even nicer, 75 with sunshine. Beautiful golf weather, and that's what we're going to be talking about in just a moment, as we'll be joined in a second by Mickey Barker. I do want to tell you about our third hour sponsor. That's the great folks at Jenkins Floors and More. They're located at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake, Mississippi. It's a hop, skip, and a jump from anywhere in the metropolitan Memphis area. If you're looking for flooring, you're looking for carpeting, this is the place for you. They have hardwoods by Portercraft and carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, but also ceramic and porcelain tiles of all types, all different colors, sizes as well, WPC and SPC vinyls, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, plantation shutters and blinds, and so much more. They sell it wholesale. Skip the middleman and save you lots of money in the process, and they'll come to you. They'll bring you samples of what it will look like, give you a free estimate, and then they'll get the job done in a 2-week turnaround. That's their promise to you. Go visit them or call them at 662-469-9350. All you Sports 56 listeners, ask about your family discount. Military, first responders, you always get 10% off. They're open Monday through Saturday. Great family, great service. It's Jenkins Floors and More. 662-469-9350. Or go visit them in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road. Time to talk some golf. He is the golf administrator for the city of Memphis. He's also a Hall of Fame golfer from Lipscomb University. He is Mickey Barker. You can follow him on Twitter at MickeyBarker1. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. So where does that Masters rank for you as far as in the annals of history? How good was that one?
It was very good. It was riveting. I had it recorded, stayed up till about 11:30 watching the whole thing Sunday night. It was fantastic. A lot of people were saying it was the best one ever. I don't think I agree with that, but it might be top 5.
Which one would you say is the greatest ever?
The 86,
Nicholas?
86 Masters will always be the greatest for me.
86.
I'm old enough to have remembered exactly where I was when I watched it, and it will always be the best.
So you said you recorded it and watched it later. Did you avoid anything about it before you watched it?
I did. Sunday afternoon, I had made it to the back 9. And Rory was on number 8, and I turned it off, put my phone down. We went to church that night. I avoided talking about golf whatsoever. Somebody would say something, I'd put my fingers in my ears. And so we got back, and my daughter and her husband came over, and some more folks, and we watched the final of it, and finally finished up about 11:30.
That's hard to do in today's world. It's hard to avoid results of something like that.
It was. I turned my phone over and never went and picked it back up because I knew somebody would be texting me and saying, "Dad, did you see that?" or whatever. So yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah, and I don't know what service it is, if it's a priest, a preacher, or whatever it is, but all of a sudden in the middle of the sermon or whatever, they go, "And what a Masters with Rory winning." I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Yeah, fortunately, the preacher is not a golfer, and so he wasn't watching. So I knew I was safe there.
So you're a good golfer. Can you try to explain to me how in the world Rory hit that ball in the water on 13?
You know, I was sitting there watching that, and I was just, what did he just do?
No, we were all stunned.
It's impossible.
I couldn't. And I heard a guy yesterday say that 90% of the people that were watching it could have hit that ball on the green, but only 1% of the people could have hit the shot he hit on 15.
Oh, no question. That's the thing. Like,
so how do you justify those two?
It is the full Rory experience. That's what Rory McIlroy is. Like you watch him hit out of the trees and almost like hole a shot, then hits a little wedge into the water, then hits a 30-yard draw around trees. It's just weird.
Yeah, 205 yards with a 7-iron around the trees, and he stops it within, it hits like it's got a butterfly with sore feet. It was unbelievable.
Well, it seemed to me like he was fine off at the tee. He wasn't showing the nerves. And then as he got closer to the green or on the green, that's when the nerves came out. I mean, that's just all nerves to put that one in Race Creek.
It seemed like to me when he was aggressive, every point where he was aggressive, he was great. He was phenomenal. Where he got conservative, like 13, he hit fairway wood off the tee. He laid up and he got into trouble. He got him when he was in a bind and he had to be aggressive. He came through every time.
I mean, like in the end, you're always like, well, hell, I should have just went for it in 2 because if I hit the water in 2, I'd save myself stroke. But I mean,
a better chance of making par that way than you.
And even the shot on 11 got a heck of a lot closer to the water than I would have ever imagined him getting to on that. Like, that would take a bounce and roll and everything else. But I'm thinking, like, he's going to just hit this down there right of the green like everybody does because you just can't take any chance of hitting it in the water.
Yeah, 11 was almost the couples of 92 when it stopped on the bank on 12. In that, when he was halfway across the fairway, I said, that's in the water. Yeah. That's in the water. He's just hit it in the water. And somehow it stopped. It was unbelievable how it stopped.
So, yeah, it was, you talk about a roller coaster round. That was the perfect example of a roller coaster. So many highs, so many lows, but I think a very, very popular win among golf fans. Now, I was happy. I was rooting for him. Even though I had a little coin on Bryson DeChambeau, I didn't mind losing that. Now, I'm one that likes DeChambeau. I know some people don't, the whole live connection and all that. If he had won, that would have been fine. And Justin Rose, I feel bad for Justin Rose. He put himself in that position, got into the playoff. Mickey, the way he played, he was warmed up on the range. I didn't think the way Rory was leaking oil, I thought this was Justin once they got to the playoff. I was shocked.
I did too. I really kind of thought he was going to, and I think I was pulling for Rory. I was fine with either one of them winning.
Right.
I wanted him just because I didn't want to have to see him go through, what he was going to have to go through. What would he even play golf again? Who knows?
Did you hear what he said?
If he didn't win that one, he was never winning the Masters.
That's correct.
I mean, he was done.
Yeah. He said in Butler Cabin, if I'm not mistaken, something to the effect of, what will you guys talk about next year?
Right.
Because every year, pretty much leading up to the Masters has been, can Rory get the career slam?
Yeah, it every year it was, well, he's not really playing this well, so we don't have to worry about this year. But every year the talk was, is he going to win the Masters? Is he going to win the Masters? And it just would have gotten intensified. You're right, Eli. I don't think he would have ever won it.
With what he's now done this year, 3 wins, including a major, do we go back now to believing that Rory is the best golfer in the world over Scottie Scheffler?
No, I don't think so. I think Scotty's still number one. If over a whole season, I think we'll see, more than likely Rory will be the player of the year. I mean, he's already got 3 wins, a major and a players championship. Somebody's going to have to do something really special to become player of the year. Now, it doesn't mean Scotty couldn't win 2 of the next 3 majors. Very easily could, and 4 or 5 more tournaments. But no, I think Scheffler still, you saw that he did not have his game other than Thursday. He played a perfect round of golf on Thursday.
The stress-free of 4 unders you could do at Augusta.
That was the highest he could have possibly shot. But the rest of the week, he just didn't have it. He drove it out of play. He drove it in the woods. He missed putts.
And still finished 4th?
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you how great he was. Okay, bringing it back locally, since we last talked to you last week, you had the Mayor's Cup Match Play Tournament? Or is that coming up?
We do. We have that coming up. The deadline to sign up for the Mayor's Cup is this coming Wednesday, the 23rd. I believe that's correct. So we'll take as many players that want to sign up. There will be a qualifier on April 26th at Fox Meadows and take the top 32 players, and they'll go into a year-long match play tournament. It's wildly popular through the city. The guys are playing. It's really good.
Explain that a little bit more for people out there, exactly what the Mayor's Cup Match Play Tournament is.
So if you think about March Madness, and we get down to the final 32, the round of 32, so we'll have the 32 lowest scores for the tournament, and then they'll go into match play.
And then it's you have a month or so to play the matches. It's basically left up to those guys.
Right. Each round is a month, so you have a month to play and that way we finish up. I believe it's in October.
Okay.
All right, Mickey. What else is coming up that we need to know about?
Well, we've got the Mad Superintendent Tournament coming up. That will be on May 8th. It's going to be at Overton Park. So it's a great, fun event. It's going to be sponsored by the Mad Grocer out of the.
A lot of Mad.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Mad. We've got a superintendent over there that at Overton that's a little diabolical. He likes to test the golfers a little bit from time to time.
Which I can't even, on some of those greens, I can't imagine what diabolical could be.
Right. We had a putting championship a few years ago, and we got a little taste of it, putting the pin locations on the top of the slopes and in places where you just really couldn't get to it whatsoever. So it's a lot of fun.
I always thought that March was the month for madness. You guys are taking it out of March.
We're pushing it back a little bit so that we have a little bit more green grass, give them a little more area to work with, and we had such a great event with the St. Patrick's Day Scramble there that we decided to go ahead and push this 2-man tournament into May.
Well, the segment is called Mickey and Friends, and so each week when he can, Mickey will go ahead and schedule a guest to be on, and that guest this week happens to be Rob Royce, the superintendent at the Overton Park 9, which is just a fun 9-hole golf course. So he deals with all things with the agronomy, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hey, Rob, how are you?
Good morning. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, thank you for joining us. All right, so look, we understand that you need rain to grow grass and all that good stuff. But when we had those storms and it was flood, how bad did it hit the course, and what is the repercussions of all that rain and that weather that we had?
Oh, according to the locals, it was one of the worst floods they'd seen out here. But we dodged a bullet. Obviously, we were very fortunate that we didn't have a lot of trash on the fairways. The golf course took the floodwaters extremely well, considering. So we had very limited problems, just a little bit of trash.
Well, that certainly is good. How long does it take after something like when you get that type of rain for it to kind of dry out?
The fairways, number 7 was the worst one. It was 100% underwater.
Oh, wow.
And number 1 fairway has a pretty much a drainage thoroughfare across the fairway. So there are 4 days on a good windy. If you have a couple of good windy days, it takes a good 4 days to dry out.
The one thing, Rob, that with heavy rain like that and a lot of water standing around, it does kind of give you a little bit of fairway top dressing that you don't have to go put sand on.
Yeah, with trash more than the sand or the soil that you'd like, for sure. a lot of midtown junk floating around.
Was this already developed when the course was originally built as far as the drainage system, or was that something that was added or bettered, if you will, when they went ahead and renovated over to 9?
Mickey could probably answer that better than myself. I've only been here 3 years, but the majority of drainage tributaries have been here a long time.
Yeah, the main creeks that run through the property where you see the big stone bridges,
right?
Number 7, number 5, beside number 1, behind number 2, all the same creeks really, but those have always been there. But there was no drainage whatsoever in the golf course. It was just surface drain. So they were able to put some drainage in 7, and we talked about that last week, that it held the water. It slowly went out, and it worked exactly the way it was supposed to. So, but Rob and his crew have added some drains, just fronts of greens especially to number 5 and number 3. And Rob, you can talk a little bit about that how well that's worked.
Yeah, we actually we installed a cart path on hole number 4 to use as drainage thoroughfare, and that dried up number 4 immensely. We put French drains all the way from the tee that ran alongside the new cart path down to one of those little tributaries behind the green, and it dried it up immensely. So there's still a lot of opportunities for us to pick up some future drainage in different areas in front of 4 green and some more in front of 5 green. But from what I understand what the course was, the renovation has really been received well, and it's getting a lot of play. People are loving it, especially these crazy greens.
So, Rob, we were just talking about the Mad Superintendent Tournament. What can people expect from that?
Well, it just depends on how bad a night I have before the tournament. But it's the player's choice, right? Well, you can have a lot of fun with things like that. You can make it pretty sadistic with these greens out here because they're already pretty brutal. It's not difficult to put some ugly pin placements, but you never know what you could expect. We may forget to clean trash off of a green. We may have a sprinkler head stuck. Somebody may even forget to put a cup in one of the greens. You never know if the guys are asleep at the wheel what they're doing for the day, right?
That is diabolical, isn't it?
Yeah, Mickey called you diabolical. Is that do you take that as a compliment?
It depends on what day it is. I might.
Rob Roy is joining us. He's the superintendent at the Overton Park 9. All right, so what is as the superintendent, what's your biggest challenge over there?
The greens are our biggest challenge. Because of the undulations and slopes, we have a hard time mowing them at a lower height of cut without scalping them, but it's actually a good thing because if we did cut them at a lower height of cut, you couldn't keep them on the greens. You couldn't keep your golf ball on the greens. So it's actually playing to the benefit of the golfer. I really thought when I first got out here that we would catch a lot of flack with the crazy undulations, but people love it. I've not heard anybody complain. They just actually enjoy the challenge of it.
Absolutely.
Well, Rob he's a really humble guy, and he has done a fantastic job keeping these greens in the condition they are. You go out there and they have the appearance of the deep dark green of Augusta National. Fortunately, they're not as fast, but his budget is slightly different from what they have at Augusta National. So he has done a fantastic job.
That's what makes him so mad.
That's exactly right.
That's why he has to take the Jaeger out.
Get him a bigger budget, Mickey, for goodness sake. Hey, Rob.
Taking donations over the phone. Huh?
Absolutely. Well, have fun with that event. Have fun the whole spring and summer, Rob. It's a pleasure having you on the program, and thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Rob Roy, if you haven't been over to Overton Park 9, it's just a fun 9-hole course, and it's challenging as well. Once again, Mickey, folks want to get a tee time at any of your great courses. What do they need to do?
MemphisPublicLinks.com. You can find tournament entries. You can find tee times, information about each course, clinics. It's all right there, MemphisPublicLinks.com.
I would want to know where the hole for that tournament, where the hole is going to be on the big bowl.
On number 5?
I just want to know
the big
where
bowl.
that pin's going to be.
It could even be on number 6T.
Hey, by the way, is there a name for the little creeks, the tributaries there?
There are. Cane Creek is the bigger one that comes under Poplar.
I was going to suggest, since we have Ray's Creek, how about Mickey's Creek if there wasn't a name? So
No.
Already taken. Thank you, Mickey. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
That is Mickey Barker, the superintendent of golf in the city of Memphis, the Hall of Famer from Lipscomb University. We'll take a timeout, come back with more. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hey, everybody, want to know where all the Chevys are? Where all the deals are? Right here in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Save thousands on your new Silverado truck. Financing as low as 2.9 for 72 months. A new 2500 HD has financing as low as 3.9 and no payments for 90 days. Nothing beats having no payments most of the summer. Absolutely nothing. You could take an extra vacation, and your good credit deserves it. If you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, military, education, recent grad, you get an extra $500 bonus. And All-Star has all the late model pre-owns you're looking for. Camaro, Equinox, Tahoe, Suburban, and tons of Silverados. And if you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. Everyone here at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch asked me to wish you and your family a very happy Easter month. So together, let's drive, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Solutions, uniform got nothing good. Ready to bring their 20 years of experience in lawn and shrub care to your property. Lawn Solutions, we control
quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and sell contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals, your next great purchase awaits.
This traffic report on Sports 56 is brought to you by Palo Windows and Doors of Memphis and the Mid-South Palo Windows. The standard is affordable luxury.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a bit more volume out here in the last few minutes, trying to get up through Midtown as we check it out live again on 240 North at Lamar. It's heavier than it was on 385 Billmores Parkway from Riverdale past Kirby all the way to 240 over here at Mill Branch, both directions east and westbound on 240. It's moving at the moment. Dandelions, crabgrass, you want to get rid of all this, call Lawn Solutions today. They'll make your yard look so good your neighbors will be jealous. Call Lawn Solutions at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This hour brought to you by James Frozen. Once again, and Greg
All right, so do we get some sort of altercation tonight involving Draymond Green? Yes or no? Whether it's a technical foul, whether he goes at a Grizzly, whether he goes at a teammate, something with Draymond Green, or is he on his best behavior? What's your guess? Yes or no?
I mean, he'll have arguments with officials. Like he may not get a technical out of it, but he'll have arguments with officials. He'll yell at something. He'll be mad about something.
Yeah, well, all the players aren't anymore about the officials, so I don't even care about that.
Considering play-in stats do not count, technical fouls technically do not count towards your playoff stats. So, I mean, I expect to see all the antics tonight.
the full Draymond.
The full Draymond Green experience.
How the game is going. If the Warriors are winning, it'll be a little different. If the Warriors are losing, and we will certainly could get some of that. Some text here on the Sissy's Log Cabin listening. This is an interesting one. Texter says, as a Brewers and Packers fan, I understand the Grizzlies' philosophy of bites at the apple. Never go all in and put yourself in cap purgatory. Collect as many primary pieces as possible and keep them, and draft and develop outside of those pieces. While frustrating for fans sometimes, this philosophy is the most efficient regarding long-term stability as an organization in a small market. Again, I mean, that's the thing. When you can't go sign big-time free agents, you have to draft, and then when you draft and get good players, you have to hold on to them. And I think even if they now say, like, man, we need to do something, this isn't working, to get better is not going to be easy at all. It's just not. I mean, if you trade one of those three guys, like I said, I would think it would be Bain, if most likely, but it's not going to be easy to trade Bain and get better all of a sudden. It's just difficult to do it. Atlanta has sat in that position for many, many years, like other teams in the NBA and other sports, as he points out. Like, you kind of get in that spot where it's hard to get better because you can't go get that one missing piece, whatever it might be, and you don't want to get worse and go through a rebuild, because if you do that, then fans don't come to your games at all.
Well, I agree with what the texter said. Green Bay is known as Title Town. They have won 4 Super Bowls. They've also won NFC championships, or they've had success. Not so much the Brewers, although, did the Brewers win a World Series? Or lose in the World Series?
They lost to the Cardinals in '82.
Yeah, but I wouldn't throw the Packers into that same. I know what he's doing, smaller markets, sustainability. Green Bay's going nowhere. It's owned by fans, isn't it? It's not a corporate ownership. It's a different ballgame. The Grizzlies and the team they're putting out on the court really is not going to make that much of a difference. It's all about Bobby Parra. If he ever wants to pick up and leave and go somewhere else, he's got more money than Sid. And right now that doesn't seem to be the case, which is good. So I think there is sustainability. And I don't know how much he's bothered by this team being good but not great, not getting over the hump. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. But while, again, the texter, I agree with the general thoughts of what they put together on the text, I disagree with the Packers. Packers have had success. Grizzlies have been around since their days in Vancouver, 1995? 30 years? They haven't played for a championship. And I just went over the last 7-8 years, and that's with some stars on this team. Whatever the reason is, they have to be on the court. They got to play together, as one texter brought up, as everybody knows. They've missed too many games. Now they're playing together. But I'm telling you, I know it'll be, well, they didn't have Brandon Clark. They didn't have Jalen Wells. That'll be a rookie, second-round pick. They didn't have Jalen Wells. That'll be the excuses if they lose. Now, again, they could shut everybody up. They could shut me up if they can go out there and beat Golden State. That, to me, even though Golden State's not a great team, and you made that point yesterday, they're a much better team now with Butler. They still have the greatest shooter to ever live, and they got a guy who intimidates people. Some decent supplementary pieces. Buddy Hield's a shooter that can go off at any time. I think you beat them. You've done a good job because they are hot. You're not. They're hosting. I don't care about history that they've lost 3 play-ins. You win this game, you're showing me a lot of fight. And you should be showing fight. This should be a close game. You got your big 3 playing now. They're playing. So let's see what happens.
Grizzly Steve texts in, says, this city disgusts me. All we hear 80% of the time is negativity. Just go on and move the Grizzlies to Seattle, and we can root for the Showboats who haven't won a game. No, you got to just throw a stray at the Showboats. Until we as a city accept the positives, we're always going to be on the porch.
No, I think that person's wrong. I think most people are positive. Most people are too positive. Go Go live in New York and listen to talk radio in New York and Boston and Philadelphia and all that. They'd be shredding this team apart for not accomplishing much at all during this run with the big three. No, I think it's much more, they're easy on this team, this market. And there's much more positivity from not only fans out there that I talk to, but media members. A lot of them. So, yeah, I completely disagree with that. And somebody I can guarantee you is not.
Do you think there's a lot of positivity around the city?
No, with the Grizzlies. They're not as harsh with the Grizzlies as they could be. You read the stories, you listen to the people that are in the media. I mean, they give them a compliment when they should be ripped apart.
Well, you do the same with the Tigers.
No, I'll rip them when I have to rip them. I didn't rip them this year.
Well, you're going to sit here and rip them for losing. If the Grizzlies lose the first round, you're going to talk about how it was a terrible season, although the Tigers, you said, was a successful season because they got to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, well, the expectations for the Grizzlies this year were much higher. I'm not going to get into this battle between the Grizzlies and the Tigers. The Tigers had no expectations going into the season. Grizzlies were sitting in second place. If the Tigers fell and ended up not winning that conference and fell and not won the conference championship, lost in the conference championship, I'd be ripping them apart. But they won all that. They just had a horrible game in the championship, in the tournament, in the conference tournament. Again, I don't expect the Grizzlies to win tonight. I'm not going to rip them apart tomorrow if they lose in a battle tonight in San Francisco. If they get waxed by 20, what are we going to do, sugarcoat it? I mean, people want to sugarcoat the stuff. If they lose on Friday, I know you've agreed with me on Friday. I think you have, that if they're playing Friday against Dallas or Sacramento for their playoff life, they have to win that game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have to win that game. And if they don't, they should be ripped. You know, again, nobody is beyond, in the sports world, being, having negative things. No, I'm not talking about personal attacks. I'm just talking about a loss when you should have won. You're going to hear it. Nobody's going to hold back, or you shouldn't hold back, especially on Sports Talk Radio. All I know is I've seen this team go from where I was applauding this team. How many times did I talk about Taylor Jenkins and the way this team was playing, and they're in second place, and then, okay, we don't know the strife that was going on in the locker room behind closed doors. We don't hear it. We're not privy to that information. We don't get much from the coaches or management. Then they make a move, which, again, I question the move at that time. Not that the move would be, I think, out of whack if it was after the season and they had lost in the first round or didn't make the playoffs. But I just think the timing was bad. I understand what he was doing. He was trying to kickstart his team. Let's make a move here. And they went from tied for 4th to 8th. Now they have a chance to redeem themselves. Again, if you got the big three, going tonight. Big three. Let's see if the big three can knock off Golden State. A good team in the West. Not an exceptional team in the West. They're not a top 3 team. And if you lose, like I said, Dallas or Sacramento at home on Friday, come on. Should beat either one of those teams handily, in my opinion.
Another texter says Grizzlies lack an offensive-minded small forward to go along with their big three. Yeah, I mean, again, that's why I wanted Cam Johnson really bad, because that's the spot they need. They could use a long, athletic shooter at that position, and that would be Cam Johnson. He fills that bill exactly. But again, they weren't. I don't know how much they tried. No idea how much effort they put into it. As I've said many, many times, I still believe with what the Grizzlies have asset-wise, that if they really wanted to get Cam Johnson, they could have gotten Cam Johnson, and it would have been whatever they gave up would have been perfectly fine to give up.
Remember last year?
I'm sure they coveted some guys way too much, more than they should have, but it's over now. Again, now they could go back to that in the offseason, and you could go back and still try and get Cam Johnson because he hasn't been traded, and I would assume the Nets at some point may still look to move him, but obviously for this season, it's not going to happen.
Remember the conversation last offseason going into the draft? Can Jaren Jackson Jr. play the 5? Remember, I know you were pro him playing center, and I said no, he can't play center. And they ended up thinking that same way because they went out and they got a center. Why? Because Jaren, as good as he is and as gifted as he is, blocking shots, altering shots, 1, foul situation, which has reared its ugly head again. 2, the lack of rebounding. You had to get a big out there that would rebound. Whether you want to call it 4 or 5, 5 or 4, doesn't matter to me. But obviously, Edey's a legitimate 5. You have a 4 in Jackson, who, again, is better suited as a 4 because you need somebody in there who can be that physical player. You got a guy who can rebound the basketball. That's what you had. That's what your hope was with Edey. And I think for the most part, Edey has done a good job. I like that pick. I still like that pick. They haven't utilized him as much as they, and that was part of the problem, I think, which eventually led to Taylor Jenkins being shown the door, how they utilized or didn't utilize him. But that's your 2, and then your other guys are obviously John Dez. It's that small forward, what we're talking about, more scoring. Now, Vince Williams getting his opportunity. He's more of a defensive player, but he's supposed to be a 3-and-D guy. If this guy can knock down 2 or 3 threes in a game and play defense, then he's valuable. But I guess Santi Aldama is out of the question because he's too big to be a 3. That's a guy who can shoot. And that's a guy who also can rebound because of his size.
Santi will play some 3. I don't think they'll start Santi in this game.
I don't think they will either.
Especially with as small as Golden State is. But Santi, certainly he has a possibility to start at the 3 position, but I think they'll start Vince. But Santi will get his minute. He'll probably get some minutes at the 3 along with normal at the 4. But again, without Brandon Clark in that rotation, you kind of have to have Santi in the rotation at the 4 position.
No, I think you're absolutely right. But I was just thinking about the question that the texter brought up. And the reason why it doesn't work, I mean, obviously his size is good, but he's not a great defender, and especially a perimeter defender. So, and that's been their biggest issue is defending on the perimeter. He can knock down shots. Obviously, he's a really good offensive player. But that's why, again, a guy like Vince Williams is perfect for that role if he is better. He showed it last year, but last year, again, it was an anomaly that season. 800 injuries, somebody had the score, he looked good, but then he had the injury. So again, how much of it is it coming back from the injury? I think he's an above average player. I don't think he's a great player. And I think you can go out there, as the texter said, and improve on that spot, that 3 position. And it goes back to a Cameron Johnson or somebody
well, the problem with Vince isn't the long athlete at that position like a Cam Johnson is.
Right.
Jalen Wells even is. I mean, again, Jalen Wells, we'll see what he ends up being. And he's been great this year for what he is as a second-round pick. But is Jalen Wells a starter on a championship contending team? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that was the question, right? We asked a lot a couple of months ago. Would he even be starting when it came to the playoffs? We didn't even think it would be a play-in situation, but it was whether or not Jalen Wells would be starting. Then he got hurt, obviously, and it answered the question for us. But I don't know. We were talking about maybe Vince moving into that starting lineup. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, I got some more on Nico and also the latest as far as the house settlement, where we are with that. We'll do that when we return.
Black tie moving, folks. If you've got a move coming up, you want to make sure you get the professionals, the experts, the right people. You don't be trying to do that yourself. Do it. Get the professionals to make it a lot less stressful on you. You know, your belongings are getting where they're going without any issues, without any problems. They're not only going to work with you to come up with a plan that fits your needs, but also fits your budget. And you do get a no-obligation quote up front, too, so you know exactly what it's going to cost, whether it's across town, across country, wherever you're going. Maybe it's a new home, maybe it's a new office, whatever. Get the folks at Black Tie Moving on your side. 901-316-6196. That's 901-316-6196. Or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to talk to the professionals, talk to the experts. And again, they'll come up with that plan working with you. During your move process, you've got a moving concierge available 24/7 to answer any questions that you have that come up. They're going to make sure you know always what exactly is going on. And again, you're avoiding problems, issues, anything like that when you've got the professionals. 5-star ratings all over the place online. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. People that use Black Tie rave about the experience. It's always a first-class experience with Black Tie Moving.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders Memphis. In the wake of the large storm systems that passed through the Mid-South, our 8 shingle crew, 3 TPO commercial flat roof crews, and even 2 metal and tile crews are all out assisting policyholders. We won't stop until all have been restored to pre-storm condition. Many homes throughout the Mid-South were hit by hail, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and yes, even 2-inch hail fell in the Mid-South. Many times hail damage will go unnoticed. Many people think it's no big deal. However, shingles and yes, even metal roofs are compromised. In time, show signs of leaks and on metal leads, rust due to breaking the coating, which in turn ends up leaking. If you had hail and high winds, look up, or better yet, have us come look up for you. Water left unattended will turn into health issues in the home or business. Our staff will perform inspections free. That's right, free. Inspections of all roof, attic, and interior to ensure that no shingle panel or insulation go unturned. Call Metro Builders now. Call us. 375-1717. That's 375-1717. Or check us out online at metrobuildersmemphis.com.
Spring is here, and it's the perfect time to give your home a little love with Choate's $93 spring deals. Got a slow or smelly drain? We'll clear it for just $93, or it's free if we can't. Also, your home's electrical system is working 24/7 behind the walls, and an inspection from Choate's can help catch hidden dangers before they become big problems. We're talking about outdated or overloaded panels, loose wiring that can spark fires, improper grounding or GFCI protection, breaker issues, flickering lights, and more. Our licensed electricians will perform a full home safety check, identify risks, and give you a plan to keep your family safe and your power running strong. All for just $93. Call 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com to book your appointment today. Choates Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Let our family serve your family.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Metis today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
It's the Freedom of Choice pricing program, Ram Truck Month and Jeep Celebration all in one at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. 2025 Compass Latitude 4x4, $49.69 off MSRP and $24,796 with Jeep Select Terrain System. Go from snow, sand, and mud. 2024 Dodge Hornet RT all-wheel drive, $12,673 off, or $397 a month with a turbocharged 2.0-liter engine standard. One of the most powerful SUVs in its class, or 0% for 72 months is available. 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab with best-in-class payload capacity, now $13,335 off MSRP, or 1.9 for 72 is available. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
6704, MSRP 29765, Hornet R3A08 452, MSRP 44620, Ram SM673 402, MSRP 517, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax, title, license, see dealer for complete details, offer valid to end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Well, there's some things about the Rendezvous I'm going to talk about. For example, we make it really easy to park. We have valet parking right at Monroe Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to doors. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for 6 or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. But we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear. Please listen carefully for our menu has changed. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering, or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of the mother's maiden name, dial it back. Come see us at the Rendezvous. Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Ford's Home. Here once again, our great guest and guys.
Earlier in the show, we were talking about the latest with Nico Iamaleava, and I said there's responses coming from 3 different sides. There is pro-Nico, there is anti-Nico or pro-Tennessee, and then there is just anti-establishment, anti-college football, NCAA, whatever, the powers that be. So here's a perfect example. This is 3 straight tweets on my Twitter lines here. Nico Iamaleava going from making $2.5 million on an SEC roster to talking to Tulane and UCLA is exactly what the market needed. Someone needed to be made a humbled example in this greedy market. Hate it for him. Sounds like it's a dad issue, but it had to happen. Then you got Dan Orlovsky from ESPN. The NCAA should be ashamed that Nico is going to get targeted and pinpointed as the person being selfish when he's a kid still. Okay? I don't know about a kid. But if you have powerful parents or your inner circle, they certainly can control 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. No question about it. But you would think that maybe you could stand up for yourself if that's what you didn't want to do that and you were made to do it. And then you got a guy like Pat McAfee who says, I haven't heard anybody say they are worried about NIL ruining college football. What they've said is, I'm worried about zero structure ruining the sport. Nico is the face of this, but it's the people who represent him that are the problem. And all kinds of different viewpoints of one guy who has become certainly the poster boy. No question about it. In the meantime, well, we're talking straight NIL, homie. We're talking with Nico about trying to get more money for his NIL. We have the House settlement that should be coming soon, you would think, and that's revenue sharing. And so I've been following Ross Dellinger about this. This is 2 days ago from Dellinger. And remember, we had the judge who looked at everything and said she wanted things added as far as roster and roster limits and things of that nature. This is Ross 2 days ago. In a seminal moment for college sports, the House settlement hangs in balance. Changes to roster limits are not expected. Senators are closer than ever to a bill. Trump wants to save the sport. An uncapped football portal may cost $50 million, a real S-storm. Then 9 hours ago, he posted a portion of the House filing. This was from last night from the defendants and the plaintiffs. As reported earlier, no change to roster limits. Other issues that the judge raised have been addressed. And then he also talks about, well, I don't need to go into this, but the point is that is one thing she said had to be addressed, and they're not addressing it. Could that mean that this thing doesn't get passed?
Could, yes. If she wants to stand firm on the fact that she's not going to approve it without the changes and the roster limits, that is what it is. She may send him right back and say, listen, until you change this or make some decisions on this, I'm not going to approve it.
Why do you think they're going to die on this hill, apparently?
So they just can't come to an agreement on exactly something that suits what they like the way it is and want to stick with the way it is, and can't come to an agreement on a different one that would suit her.
Okay. Go ahead.
Got another text here on the Grizzlies that asked the question, what would it take to get Anthony Edwards? Probably just have to trade the entire franchise.
Moving the franchise.
If you gave them the team and about $1 billion, you could probably get Anthony Edwards. Actually, I thought that it still wouldn't get you Anthony Edwards. Nothing will get you Anthony Edwards.
Nothing will get you Anthony Edwards.
You need the Timberwolves to fold up as a franchise. That's what you have to have them fold up as a franchise, and all of their players become go into a draft, and you win the first pick of said draft. Then you can get Anthony Edwards. Another texter says Grizzlies going into hostile territory and pulling the upset tonight is a lock.
A lock? Are they putting their money where their mouth is? I don't know if they're gamblers, whoever texted in, but yeah, I would stay away from that one. I'm not saying, again, they can't win, but a lock?
It's a bold statement. Bold.
Cotton. ESPN and Shams, Sharania, says that the Pelicans are finalizing a deal right now to hire Joe Dumars as the franchise's new president of basketball operations. I told you earlier about the firing of David Griffin and that Dumars was the front runner. Well, they're acting very quickly on that one.
Doug texts in on the Nico. He says, in the Samoan culture, the father of the family dictates the decisions for all of the other members. I imagine Nico's father, uncle, and agents are the real culprits.
Yeah, I that's a great point. I was thinking of that as well, that probably in his situation, he didn't have much of a voice, which is a shame.
Yeah, again, we'll see what he ends up getting. If he has to go somewhere, if he ends up getting less than he was getting at Tennessee, it looks like a really poor decision. But we'll see how it ends up, what the end of it is, and how much money he ends up making, all of that stuff. But yeah, if he ends up getting like a $1.5 billion somewhere, it's going to look like a really bad decision for Nico.
Okay, so let me ask you this. And believe me, I don't think this is happening unless all of a sudden somebody dumped a whole lot of money Tulane's way. But how about if he got $3.5 million to play a season at Tulane? Does he win? He's dropping into the American Conference.
He's won.
He's not in a power conference. He's won. Because it's all about the money with you.
I mean, it's $1 million more than he was getting?
$1 million more. Playing for Tulane.
He won.
Because if you're going to go to the next level, I mean, it helps to play really good competition consistently, but you can certainly do that from any one of these schools. That's been proven. You could certainly be. We've seen Tulane quarterbacks go to the NFL. Several of them. One's with a team right now. Was it Pratt? Michael Pratt? Sweet Green Bay. He's at least on their taxi squad. But before that, from Sean King, there's several. I think there's like 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks in the last probably 30 years from Tulane that have gone to the NFL. But I don't think that's happening. I just don't know. Maybe it's UCLA, but I don't know. We haven't heard any other names out there other than North Carolina, and that was a report that came out yesterday and was quickly debunked as far as Belichick either wanting him or having the money to do so. That's going to do it for us today. We want to thank Parker Fleming and Mickey Barker for joining us on the program. Tomorrow we're back starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Blake Topmeyer on the whole Nico deal and all of college football, where we are with the House settlement. Parthu Pajai will join us as well to talk Memphis Tigers recruiting, the latest with Penny and his staff as they continue to try to add to fill a roster, which right now has a number of holes. And, of course, we'll be talking Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors on the program tomorrow. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56
and
is
if the
coming up
Grizzlies
next.
Win tomorrow or tonight at some point, we'll be giving away $98.50 to some lucky winner.
Yeah, you
And
better
they'll get every day until they are eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, not that you need any extra incentive to root for the Grizzlies, but you got it right there. That'll do it for us. For Eli Savoy, for Elijah Seegers, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.